It is yet another week in the month of October, the pink October, the month of the breast cancer awareness. Good morning to you all. You are welcome to the Koko Digest Morning Show. I am your host, Yayura Awuno. We're coming to you live from the studios of Club TV, and if you're not in the comfort of your home, you can catch us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we are also on GoTV channel 184. Now, the breast cancer awareness tip for today is in light of yesterday's No Bra Day. For us to make sure that we keep our girls free, we should only wear the bras and all those undergarments when necessary and make sure to be in our natural state. We should also be mindful of our bras, the types, the fit, the cup, the hold, everything, even the material used to make it. If you wear a bra and your spirit doesn't feel good in it, you need to take it off and make sure, listen to your body, listen to your breasts. And also men, you are also very, very likely to also be contracting breast cancer, so please make sure to also get checked. It's not a woman's only disease. Now, moving on, the conversations for today are also very interesting, as on the lifestyle segment for this week, we are going to be talking about practical skills, as it's being named TVET these days, the technical and vocational skills, learning some of these things, the importance and what it can do for us, the way forward in future. And on the main segment, we're going to be talking about work and the law, what everybody needs to know. So it's something relating to the labor laws and what we need to know as employees and employers as well. Business and sports will be bringing us news as always. And now let's take the motivational quote for today. Today's quote is by Christopher Reeve, and he says, "Once you choose hope, anything is possible. Once you choose hope, anything is possible." This is by Christopher Reeve. And this quote reminds us of the transformative power of hope. Hope is not just a feeling, it is a decision to believe in a better outcome, even when circumstances seem bleak. When you choose hope, you open your mind to new possibilities and give yourself permission to keep moving forward despite fear, pain, or even uncertainty. Now, Reeve's words are especially very meaningful, given that his own life story, after being paralyzed, he became a symbol of courage and even resilience. His belief in hope shows that our mindset can shape our reality. Choosing hope helps us to see the potential where others see impossibility, and it gives us the strength to keep working towards our goals. Now, in essence, hope fuels resilience, and it is a quiet force that keeps us striving, innovating, and believing that with effort and faith, things can change for the better. And once you choose hope, the limits you once saw begin to fade, and the impossible starts to feel within reach. Now, this is just an admonition by Christopher Reeve that we should keep the hope up regardless of the circumstance, regardless of how the odds may be stacked way up against us. Just keep up the hope, keep moving forward, build that resilience through the hope that you have that things will be better. And of course, with time, our reality tends to also tally with our hope as well. Now, before we go into the online segments, let's take our weather report, as this is from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. So let's take a view of that quickly. Now, as we can see in the images here, this is for this week. And yes, for today, Monday, that is the 14th of October, 2025, we have the report for this morning, this afternoon, and this evening. And so I'm going to just give us the summary as we take a look also on our screen. So as mentioned in the weather warning issued earlier on, the rainstorm is currently affecting parts of Uti and Volta regions. The storm is expected to make a westward movement, producing rain and thundery activities over areas in the transition sector. Mist and fog patches may develop along the coast, hilly and forest zones during the early hours of the day. As the day unfolds, sunny intervals are expected in some areas. However, rain and thundery activities are anticipated over places along the coast, middle and transition and the northern sector. So this is basically to tell us that we're likely to have some rain today. So if you're now leaving the house, please, arm yourself with an umbrella or a raincoat. If you're in town and you see someone selling, you can buy one, buy for a friend as well. If you're driving, please do well to give somebody a lift, as, when it rains, the whole neighborhood becomes very dangerous. It becomes very difficult to navigate. So help a friend and, of course, stay safe. Next is the online and print review with my co-host, and we will be right back. You're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, it's time for our online and print review. And I have my co-hosts here with me in the persons of Peter Insia and Nanayao Asari. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Yaya.
Good morning, Yara.
It's a new week. How are we doing?
Yes.
Peter will say divine selection. I'll say
Up and grateful.
we are up and we are grateful. So yes, divine selection and then gratitude of being alive. So yes, we are up and grateful.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure our viewers are also up and grateful, also divine selection happening there. And I'd like to remind you to send your comments, anything happening in and around your environs, your vicinity, to our WhatsApp number that's displayed onto your screens. And when the phone lines are opened for contributions, we would also alert you, and the number will be displayed onto the screen. So please do take note The numbers are a little different, especially when it comes to the last two numbers. So please take note. And lastly, please keep your comments very respectful and decorous. Let's respect ourselves and the institution of Club TV. Now let's get into what's happening. What's trending?
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, the whole of this weekend, I'm very excited. I'm super excited because we've had great news, good news. I think we should take a second to smile as Ghanaians. Because this qualification says all. This qualification says all. I mean, I'm super excited to see Ghana back in the World Cup race again. I mean,
I see them in the finals, man.
Yeah, you remember we came here and we said that we'll be having the Koko Digest morning show live from the USA when we actually qualify for the World Cup. And it has come to pass.
Okay.
So we are setting this message to our producer if we're to make sure that it happens. Because my bag's already packed up.
Right.
And my passport is already at the embassy.
I'll go like that. I'll
You go
find
like
everything.
So yes, Black Stars have secured qualification for the 2026 World Cup, which will be taking place for the first time in 3 different countries. We've had Korea, Japan, but this is the first time that it's happening in 3 different countries. Now, we have United States of America, Mexico, and then Canada as well. So these 3 countries are hosting the World Cup. And this time around, the World Cup, it's in a whole different phase. You know, initially we had the World Cup for only 5 participating African teams. But this time around, there is 9 automatic qualification slots for the 9 groups that are created for Africa. And then the second placed teams. So that's where there is hope for our Nigerian brothers. And even not so much hope, but yeah, the second placed teams in each group, right? They are going to pick up the best second placed teams, 4 best second placed teams. And then they are going to play qualification. So if they beat the one who tops all in that particular one, will go and play the one who topped in Asia and then Oceania and all that. It's a long route, but then it also opens another route for an extra African country. So our Nigerian brothers, if you are watching me, all hope is not lost. You can still qualify, but we are already there.
Yeah,
but, you know,
we are waiting for you. If you don't come to, don't worry. We'll be
you know, there is always the battle of whose jollof is the best, blah, 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 whose football is the best and all that. We allowed Nigerians to beat us in a friendly some time ago. And then
I think, they qualified for even, was it the AFCON?
The AFCON, and then they were bantering us that we didn't even qualify for the AFCON is local champion. Now we have gone for the World Cup.
Exactly.
So Nigeria, we are waiting for you. Shay, they why me?
We are going to show the world that it is not only jollof that we can cook better than Nigerians when it comes to football. And then those in New York City, when they hear any loud drumming sound, it is not a protest. It is Ghanaians
Jama.
who are showing the world that, you know, we taught Brazilians how to dance to the ball. I mean, I'm super excited. And I know with what the guys displayed last Sunday, the enthusiasm, the strength, and then even the fans, the supporters. So I'm urging Ghanaians to continue with the support, and hopefully we can lift the trophy.
Right. Yeah. Now, pardon my ignorance, or I'm speaking on behalf of those of us who are not very well versed in football. What is the reason for the division? Is it to reduce the congestion?
When you say division,
for the countries hosting the World Cup.
All right. So this time around, the World Cup is taking a whole new phase, right?
Resetting.
Yeah, we've reset the World Cup. Now we are going to have a lot more countries participating in the World Cup.
Okay.
It's opened up slots for countries in Oceania, North America, the CONCACAF and all that. So there are lots more participating teams in this particular World Cup. Now the division is just because the World Cup travels around a lot.
Okay.
And then when it comes to these particular, and it takes a very long time for you to taste the World Cup hosting. So, for instance, the last time England hosted the World Cup was quite a while ago. It's gone to Russia, it's gone to Asia, it's gone to Qatar, it's gone to, how do you call it? We saw it in Germany in 2006, and Germany hasn't seen it again. Now, we saw it in Africa in 2010, and that was, so the World Cup comes to visit you, and it's like a blessing. So the North American countries, you know, United States, Mexico, and then Canada, these are the main North American countries. And if the World Cup is going to North America, we don't know the time which it will come there
Back
again.
again,
So this is
okay.
the time where the three of them actually bid to host it. So they have, when you look at the number of stadia that they have and the shared resources that they have, they'll be able to host it very well. And this time around, a lot more countries are coming. So if we see that we may need extra facilities, extra world-class facilities. Mexico will bring out its fair share, the United States will bring out its fair share, and then Canada will also bring out its fair share.
Okay.
And we're going to have a blast at the World Cup.
Right. So assuming it comes to even Africa, we can have maybe one country in the top part, one country in the middle, and then Southern Africa also hosting, so that is it something like that?
Well, we are gearing towards something like that, but we also look at proximity to the countries. You know, when it comes to safety and security, when it comes to maybe someone using a train to be able to travel from, someone can actually pick up a train to travel from one of these countries to the other without any hassle. Whether maybe you played your first game in let's say Ghana, and then you are going to play your next game in Morocco. The length of time and the hours that will take your fans to travel over there and all that. So proximity also comes to play.
Okay.
So sometimes they do all of that, and then you'll be able to find the host and then.
Yeah. I'm hoping it comes to Africa so that we can, display our culture very well.
South Africa did a good job in 2010. We are hoping it comes again.
Yeah, so, Peter, what's trending on your end?
I mean, still on sports to add up to Nana. So, this time it has been expanded from 32 teams to 48 teams.
Yes.
And so now these matches are going to be played in 16, cities.
Okay.
11 in the United States, 3 in Mexico, and then 2 in Canada. And so, like Nana rightly said, based on their resources and all that, that's how demarcations were being done. And so we are hopeful. We are hopeful, and we are praying that all Ghanaians should, support the Black Stars. And kudos to the Black Stars management and the boys and all that.
I didn't even hear much about the Ghana versus Comoros just recently. It's almost like Ghanaians are. I speak for Ghanaians when I say this, that we've been disappointed so many times that so it's like we just have one foot in, just a little. We don't want to invest too much of our emotions into the football because, I texted a friend and he said Ghana won, but there wasn't much jubilation. I wasn't hearing the way we usually...
At the Accra Sports Stadium, there was much jubilation.
No, you see, in the homes, right?
Yes.
Just like when the light goes off and it comes back, they're shouting. Yeah. We don't hear that anymore. It's like, are people not watching?
So maybe that's because we did a job in Morocco when we played against Central African Republic. Because what happened was, for Madagascar to have qualified, they needed to overcome an 8-goal deficit at least to be able to be at par or to beat Ghana. And they needed Ghana to lose. And we knew that Madagascar were going to play against the group favorites, Mali. So it was as though before we even kicked the ball, we had qualified. So the qualification was even already done some few days prior. So it sort of brought down the excitement. It's as though we are confirming what we all know. It's like a pregnant woman with a protruding belly going to the hospital to find out whether I'm indeed pregnant. So
right. Okay. That's clear as well. Thank you so much. Yeah. So yes, Peter, you're going to talk about something.
Yes.
I hope you have your newspapers on standby.
Yes.
Right.
So Yara, imagine ordering jollof and chicken and paying online, and later realize that the restaurant doesn't even exist.
Hey.
So let me just read a police statement. So police have arrested 10 individuals accused of creating fake online food delivery platforms that mimicked popular apps such as Glove and Boat Food. The suspects allegedly lured victims through social media ads and cloned websites, collecting payments for meals that were never delivered. According to the cybercrime unit of the Ghana Police Service, the syndicate operated mainly through WhatsApp and Telegram, tricking customers with discount offers and express delivery deals. They are now being processed for courts on charges of defrauding by false pretense, cyber fraud, and money laundering.
Wow.
So this is what is happening. In the early 2000s, it was Sakawa. In the mid-2010s, we saw cybercrime, we saw mobile money fraud. And now it is taking another trend. This is very serious. We're all victims of this. Imagine you're hungry and you want to order some food.
Right?
Just for you to realize that it's just fake. So these 10 people have been arrested, and we are all victims. So I think that the education should be more. And then some report by CSA 2014 indicate that 70% of these victims are, first-time digital users. They are not much, they are not more into the digital world. So 70% of them. And then another report also indicates that with education, it can be reduced by 40%. So I think it's high time the cybercrime unit help with the education. I think this month was it last month or this month?
I think this month is also cybersecurity awareness.
There should be more education. All of us can fall, into victims, and I mean, it's very serious.
It's reminding me of a story of Esau and Jacob. Right, but let's go to the newspapers quickly. Today, we don't have an extended period for our online news, so we'd have to go through the stories quite briefly and quickly. So who's going first?
Peter, would you want to go
Nana, you have to go first.
Okay. All right, so I'm having the Daily Graphic at the moment, and it says that government approves hiring of health workers, thousands to be employed, salaries arrears to be paid next month. Some good news. We actually came here quite some few days ago, and then we came to talk about the health service workers and the nurses, especially, and their paid allowances and their grievances. And then Honorable Minta Kando also came out to say that. So now a declaration has come out that has been agreed for them, but the payment hasn't yet started. And this is also an additional news to say that it's approving hiring of health workers. In addition, the chipped compound and all that we are setting up, we'll definitely need health workers to actually come and support in that. And then also, we have Brian Champon calls for discipline and unity in the MPP. Is also making up the rounds on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Now, the major story is that President Mahama calls for transformative action towards gender equality. And he said this all together at a congress that they had in Japan, where John Mahama was there, His Excellency Lordina as well. Xi Jinping was also there, the president of China, and other dignitaries. So he actually did that in a gender empowerment program. The Honorable Chief of Staff as well, in charge of administration, was also there. That Honorable Bampo Ado is one who champions gender initiatives, and she had to be there as well. This one is also saying that CHAS demands postpaid meters in SHS to avoid disruptions. So these are things that we have to actually look at and talk about, because CHAS saying that postpaid and prepaid meters, I thought we actually made do with postpaid meters, and then we resorted to prepaid because we thought it was going to be helpful. But these are the stories that are making rounds in the Daily Graphic. I'm sure if you have a copy and go through, you'll be able to read a lot of that.
Right. Thank you so much. And so, Peter, what do you also have for us?
So I have with me graphic business. And on the front page, banks write off 893 million Ghana cedis. You also have Ghana IMF Rich Staff Agreement, paves way for fresh 385 million funding. $1 million funding. And then we know this started somewhere 2022, 2023 when, Ghana went to IMF to kind of sought for help. I mean, that was Ghana going to IMF for the 17th time, seeking
for help. In how many years?
And
because roughly, it cannot be since...
it's about 30-something years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 30-something years. And since that time, since 2023 till date, we've been receiving money from IMF. And then just last week or so, the IMF staff were in Ghana to, go through. They agreed with some form of agreement that we have to reduce spending. We have to cut expenditure and all of that. So they came to Ghana to review. And then with this, it means that we are good to go. So very soon we'll be receiving $385 million to support the economy as well. So Ghana is third highest in policy rate ranking in Africa. We also have Moody's upgrades Ghana credit rating to CAA 1. And that can be found on page 8 and 9. And so this is all on the business graphic.
All right. Okay, so
If I could touch on his stories a little bit, but the CAA ranking isn't something that we should be really excited about because there are AAA rankings, there are double Bs and all that, which or lean towards a better rating system when it comes to you being credit worthy. But at the moment, before this, we were at triple C ranking, and it wasn't good at all in terms of the rating that we have, or the notion that other people have of us in on the international market, considering how we restructured our bonds and then our euro bonds and all that. Now, talking about reducing capital expenditure. Now, what we've seen from the budget or the reviews that the finance minister has brought about is that we've seen that there's a lot of reduction of capital expenditure and then a lot more increase in the consumption expenditure when you look at the budgets. Now, consumption expenditure, paying for salaries and all that. Now, what they tend to do is that it actually increases inflation because there'll be a lot of money in there and then not the capital expenditure to match. So the capital expenditure that's supposed to open businesses, make sure that bridges, buildings, vehicles, machinery are acquired for governments to actually be able to produce more. It's not being done, but we are increasing consumption. So it's as though productivity is going down in terms of capital expenditure when you're looking at it in that sense. And then we're also seeing that consumption expenditure is also going up because more salaries and other stuff are being paid. So when you just oppose the two, it's quite something that we have to look at, considering the fact that we are fighting to keep our inflation in a single digit. There are a lot of things that we have to really focus on if we want to make sure that the economy is as stable as it could be. Otherwise, all the policies, instead of being long-term, will become short-term policies.
All right. So we have a video of our president in Beijing at the conference, and he made some profound statements. So let's take a look.
My country, Ghana, remains steadfast in its pursuit of gender equality and the empowerment of our women. Under my leadership and in my capacity as the African Union champion for gender and women's empowerment, the government of Ghana has continued to take decisive steps to mainstream gender across our national development policies. We've achieved historic milestones, including the election of Ghana's first female vice president and the unprecedented appointment of women to leadership positions in government, the judiciary, the security services, and key national institutions. These are not just symbolic gestures. They are deliberate affirmation that women deserve a seat at the table of the highest levels of decision-making. And I am confident that in the very near future, our women will break the glass ceiling and there will be a woman president of the Republic of Ghana.
So you can see the future president already. So just prepare yourselves.
Be careful that they don't charge you for cool.
All right. So that was our president, and he was speaking on the gender equality issues, and I think we are getting there as a nation as well, and there's still more room for improvement. So now, because of time, let's go.
So now, talking about gender equality, for me, I'm not an advocate for gender equality, because when you say gender equality, it means that if you are giving this particular woman 5, you have to give this man 2.5. That's what we are looking at. What I'm actually advocating for is gender equity, because for them to be at par, you may need to do more than equal for the woman to actually be at par. So I wasn't coming to say anything against you. I'm actually pro gender equity. So that's what I'm actually advocating.
Well, I think the whole basis of the conversation around equality is the fact that at the base of everything, we are all humans.
Yeah.
Yes. So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So if you're getting paid just because maybe you don't need menstrual period leaves or maternity leaves, so you are being paid more than I am, it's unfair, because it is based on biology that we are here. You played a role in your wife becoming expectant that has
Yeah.
caused her to go on leave for a number of months. So even with that, there were conversations, I don't know, even though I digress, there were conversations on the fact that even the men need to take paternity leaves to help out. So when we talk about the equality, it's more like we shouldn't just allow the fact that some of our societal norms from ages ago influence certain things that would benefit both parties in society as a whole. You know, because if the women are not educated or if the women are being stifled, in essence, it affects our economy. It affects every aspect of our social, economic, political lives as well. So equity also comes in at a certain point, and then equality also comes in. You know,
I mean, equality, as you said, is the basis that there's blood running through the woman's veins, there's blood running through the man's veins. But the reason why I brought in equity is because social constructs leads society to actually align women or malign women in a certain light, that in order to bring them out, for them to function as women, to be equal to men, if I can put it that way, you would need more than the equal resources that you're allocating for men. For instance, if you want to see that women are more, how do you call it? Women are engaged in STEM education. You may need more than just allocating the same. If you're allocating 50 slots for men, you're allocating 50 slots for women. You may need more than that. What you may need is that, for instance, if the pass mark is aggregate 6 for men, you can actually bring it to aggregate 9 or 8 for women, not because women are dumb, but because you want to encourage women to actually be in that particular space as well. So then you realize that you're not being equal, because the men too can say that, why is it not 9?
Yes,
so
but
then there's the maximum of equity being applied, because you are trying to make sure that at the end they are both at par, and not, because the men may not need that kind of motivation to be able to get there. But then the basis or the fundamental point is that the men and women are equal. It's just different sexes. But then for you to be able to put them apart in terms of society, then you may need to put equality aside and dwell more on equity.
So with the example you even made, it comes back to the fact that we need to uproot certain things that have been entrenched in our beliefs. Now, some ages past, when education or even formal education came into being, it was more of a male thing. Send the male to school. So now it has reflected in today's society, where it seems that the women are not, some are not given the chance, some are not willing, because they've been also socialized to think that, look, you're just going to grow up, somebody will come and marry you, you make children. You don't need a career. Your husband needs that. It is still in our society. These are some of the things we need to uproot. Then equality, equity conversation can actually make sense, because I think some years back, was it in one of the Southern African countries, they were talking about the fact that now the male child has been neglected because so much attention has been given to sending the female child to school. Even there was a campaign, send your girl child to school at a point, to the point where now the male child has also been neglected. So it's like, the root causes of some of these things need to be uprooted. Then these conversations will no longer be gender wars and what do you bring to the table, and, you know, some of these silly things that just tend to even aggravate you. Sometimes you listen to some of the conversations and you wonder if these people are actually educated. You know, I think Peter also wants to share something.
Yeah, so the advocates for this actually over the years have been advocating for the fact that they are not involved in governance, policies, and decision making. Like you rightly said, we are doing well as a country. These days, when you look at the number of our representation in parliament, in the judicial service, like the president said, and other, you know, public institutions, you realize that we are on the path and we are doing well. And now to your conversation about equity and equality, I think you are going deep into it, which of course the advocates do not really talk about that. Their concern is about the governance aspect, the amount of money one earns compared to a male, and then the kind of job, the positions and all that. But then I think it's high time we go down to the root, like you rightly said. What causes, you know, a male child to climb up the ladder, and what makes a female, you know, keep down the ladder. So it's about the education, you rightly said, and some traditions that we have to do away with and, encourage them. Like Nana rightly said, there are certain things that, whether you like it or yes, there are certain things that, the male, the male can do that, the female. And then if you want to bring equity or equality, like Nana said, you'd have to, put things, it's always, let me put it this way, the male, we are always, welcoming the fact that there are certain things that you can do that we have to do for you, help you, and bring you up there. And so, this is a very deep conversation that we should actually sit down and dive deep into the root of it before we come up to the issue about representation and all.
And also, we were talking about pay and then productivity as well. But then, I'm not an advocate of people paying just by the mere fact that you're women, you're a woman, you should be paid this much. Or your man, you should be paid more. So what we have to actually set our pay structures around in the 21st century is on productivity and not productivity, qualification, and input, and not based on gender. The fact that you're a woman doesn't mean that when you sit at this particular seat, you can't deliver more than a man would actually do. So we should actually not place salary structures. We shouldn't place our salary and all that's based on gender roles and all. We have to make sure
so that conversation too also stems from the fact that sometimes the base pay varies. Base, so entry level degree holders, but then there's a difference.
For
where
men and women.
There are some countries that is happening.
Yeah.
So that is where that conversation comes from. I don't think it's because of their variance in input. So now let's go to the online story. But we have one trend here. This is about the Ghana Maritime Authority that confirmed that 15 people, including 11 children, tragically lost their lives in a boat accident near Kitikrachi in the Oti region on Saturday, October 11, 2025. Now, the GMA reported that the boat, which was overloaded, capsized while crossing a part of the Volta Lake, and the victims ranged from ages 2 to 14. Along with 4 adults and 4 individuals survived the tragedy. Now, in response, the Ghana Maritime Authority has set up a committee to investigate the incident and ensure that those responsible are held accountable. So I think they also worked with the Navy and deployed some task forces around to also retrieve and investigate the issue. Now, moving up quickly, we also have this story. This would have been a very lengthy discussion, but maybe on Thursday we'll go into this. Is financial clearance secured for 13,500 unpaid nurses, midwives, and this is by the health minister. So Ghana's Minister for Health, Kwabena Mintah Akando, has announced significant progress in resolving unpaid salary and allowance issues affecting healthcare workers. Now, key developments include the financial clearance, which has been secured for 17,909 nurses, midwives, and allied health interns who started their national service in 2024. Now, there's also renewed clearance for 13,500 nurses and midwives recruited in late 2024 with clearance renewed until further notice. Then also, the government is committed to paying inherited salary arrears and strengthening systems to prevent future occurrences. Now, the health workers are urged to remain calm and continue serving diligently while directing outstanding health concerns to the appropriate authorities for prompt resolution. This conversation, you know what the least said, the better. We are glad, we are happy that our healthcare workers, these back in 2020 COVID era, they were deemed essential workers, and yet they are not. It's not reflecting in their bank accounts. Anyway, we are glad that the money has come.
So I'll just give this closing statement on it. Someone told me that once your use is over for a politician, then it's over for you as well. So once the COVID subsided, or we realized that we didn't need them anymore in that particular sense, not that we don't need health workers anymore. Once their use got exhausted by the politicians in terms of getting monies from donor agencies and all that for this for the fight against COVID. Once that was exhausted, that means their youth was also exhausted, and that shouldn't be the case at all. Health workers are really essential, and I don't wish this upon anyone. But when you go to our health facilities and you look at the conditions in which they work with, and when you couple that with the fact that they are not being paid as they should, then you realize that this country, say you're able to be at, then you realize that how important the health workers are. But it shouldn't be the case.
And I mean, to add up, like I've been saying, this is not the first time. This has been happening. And then this is a system error. I heard the fact that people try to politicize this, and then some people, employ them and they refuse to pay. This, it shouldn't be politicized. This is a system error. And I will say that this is lack of coordination between, ministries and agencies. And so, like, you're right, it is high time we make good use of technology. We have to do away with this paperwork and all of that. Most of our, currently, when new recruits are being done, it goes through paperwork before they get to the payroll system. So imagine we have a digital, cloud payroll system where the ministry, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Health, and then the Controller and Accountant General Department, they are all on the system. So once the recruitment is done, it automatically updates. The Ministry of Finance sees it, the Controller also sees it, and then it works like, you see, sometimes one ministry would have to work and present its work either via papers or email to the other ministry before it also works, and then the other ministry also gets to. That is where the delay comes in. And then these people, like you rightly said, they are essential workers. And then when we go to the hospitals too, we want them to do, the best for us.
Yes.
Look at what happened. 10 months, 13 months without salary. And we expect them to go to the hospital, laugh with us, and treat us well.
With compassion.
Yeah, this is the more reason why people come out to say that when I went to the hospital, a nurse was rude to me and all that. The person is hungry. The person cannot afford essential, things like food, rent, and all that. There's pressure on the person. And so I think it's high time where agencies coordinate, and we should get a task force that will help to, control these things. It's like running a baton. So once you take it and you get to the other person and you forget to give it to the other person, it doesn't continue.
Yeah.
You've lost the race.
You've lost the
The whole
race.
world is running, and then you're still waiting to hand over
I
the
want to
baton.
say that I refuse to understand why it took this amount of time to pay workers, and not just any workers. One of the, of course, there's a hierarchy when it comes to the workers in the nation and all of that. And these people are essential workers. These people are the ones in whose hands most lives pass through when it comes to health. Yeah. And it takes this long to pay them. And we're hearing of all these maybe bureaucracy issues and clearance and whatnot. But for the fact that these are also humans who require sustenance. If you employ, even here at Clogsag, right? If the government does not pay a salary, or even look at even the issue about the restructuring of the salary structure, or even increments in our salaries because we deserve it. Look at how, we stand, right? So what about others? Why is it that it's almost as if, okay, maybe these are children who have come from school, so maybe they don't seem to have a voice? Then I remember watching a video where one of the ladies was being interviewed and being asked something about the boyfriend supporting her. And it is very sad to see those kinds of things, because some people are even the only ones who made it to school and they are supporting their families only to not be paid by the government for such extended periods of time. But then, we've heard that clearance has been given for some of them, most of them, a larger chunk. So we hope that it will go forward.
Some of them.
It should be all of them, right? But our time is up, so we can't go deeper.
But there should be. We should make good use of technology. Like you said, it is not only in Ghana, but just that Ghana, the timing is too much. Other African countries it happens, but World Health Organization has also proven that using the cloud payroll system actually helps to reduce delay, errors, and all that. So I think we are there. We are pushing. We are trying to do away with the paper system and then use digital system. So I think with time we'll be able to resolve issues like that.
Right.
So I'll conclude by saying that bureaucracy is the beautiful burden that democracy has placed on us. So as democracy has its good sides, everyone has to have the opinion and majority has to carry the day. And that's why sometimes these bureaucratic procedures are there. So it's a beautiful burden that every democratic government actually passes through. So let's embrace it, and then let's not just embrace it, but let's find ways to actually reduce the red tape and then all that, so that we can actually work faster.
Right. So this brings us to the end of the online and print review. Next is the lifestyle segment. We're going to be discussing practical skills, TVET, technical and vocational educational training. And then on the main segments, Nanaya, in 2 seconds, please give us a brief summary of what's happening.
So we'll be having people from the labor to come and talk to us about living wage, minimum wage and all that, working conditions.
Okay.
We'll be looking at the Factories, Offices and Shops Act as well as against the Labour Act and what it entails for all workers and worker rights. So that's what we'll be delving into today.
Okay, so that being said, I'll encourage you to share the links on Facebook and YouTube to your loved ones. Anyone who is interested in any of these conversations, come and let's learn about how practical skills can help us curb the issue of unemployment and even self-sustenance, being able to become self-employed, starting a business. And then also we'll be learning about the labor laws and a few things that are, very, very important to people that have jobs and work for others. So up next is the lifestyle segment, and we'll be right back. Koko Digest Morning Show, and if you're just tuning in, it's time for the lifestyle segment. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about how we can learn some practical skills, technical and vocational skills to curb the unemployment issue. And I have two guests here with me. The very first one is Mr. Edem Kwekunukwe. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Modern Fabrication, and then we also have Kwejodan. So he is a student at Modern Fabrication. Now, a little bit of a background into both of my guests quickly, then we go into the conversation. So Mr. Nukwe studied marine mechanics at Regional Maritime University, and his previous place of work is Industrial Coach Engineering as a fabricator. And then also he worked at K&A Engineering as a fabricator, and then at Motherland Service as a car body worker, and also has 24 years of experience in these practical skills. Then we also have our guest, the second guest, Mr. Kwejodan. So he is a medical engineering practitioner. He's also a welder and a project secretary at the Youth of Cristo Asafo in the Greater Accra region. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I'd like to say that we're really grateful that you're here to help us educate our audience about practical skills, when it comes to the technical and vocational skills. So with practical skills, somebody watching may not necessarily understand. So if you can give us a brief explanation of what these practical skills are.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. And thank you for having me. And also thank you for the opportunity given to us to discuss these national issues. To acquire skills, to humble yourself, to go under a practical training, to enable you to have something, a craft, so that you can be a master of your own. So that you can also employ or have established yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
right.
it.
So what are some of these crafts then, if you can help us?
So with this craft, we have welding, carpentry, masonry, steel bending. It's a whole lot.
Okay.
Looking at how the thing is, so it's a whole lot.
Okay. So you have 24 years of experience. So I'd like to briefly let you educate us on how your journey has been, how you got into these crafts.
Okay, thank you. The journey has been a bit tough. It's not easy, but with determination and hard working, by the grace of God, we have gotten to this far. I started by, as you said earlier on, by our profile, that I started working with some few companies. Then we were laid off. Then a friend of mine gave me a note to go and see one Mr. T at Accra workshop, Accra machine shop. So I went there and he advised me. He said, Master, can you start something on your own? You can start by even doing cold pot and put it on the roadside. And I said, So after I left him, I thought of the whole thing and I said, this man, instead of you to help me, you are telling me to go and do cold pot. But after thinking about the whole thing, I decided to start doing canopies, put it on the roadside. We started from my house where I rented. Then gradually we moved to under a mango tree. By the grace of God, we have come very far, and we have our own property on the Spinter Road that we are operating from. Yes.
Right. So let me come to you as a student. What inspired you to go into learning these skills as opposed to the way other people decide to go or to take the academic path?
Okay, personally, I was inspired by Apostle Engineer Dr. Kojo Safu.
Of blessed memory.
Yeah, so his advice was, the world is changing. And before any country can develop, it's all about technology and science. And artisanry is what we use to build a nation.
Okay.
So as a young guy, having the talent, it requires you to still get a skill. Even though you may be academically good, but it still requires you to get these handiworks that at the end of the day, if this side should fail, this side will work for you. So upon his advice, I told myself, okay, I'll give it a try. Though it wasn't easy, like having a well-paid job, we were laid off due to contract issues. So I told myself, okay, no problem. I will have to pay heed to the advice the great man is talking about. So upon going in, people were even saying, somebody that you are earning huge money as of 2019. Why will you say you are going to learn work? It's not going to work that way. But I told the person, don't worry. When the time is due, you will understand. So I took the opportunity. And when I went to my boss, welcomed me, took me as a son, and began teaching me the things that I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
So looking at how far I've come, I went to him, he trained me. He later advised me to go back to school.
Okay.
And currently, I am a mechanical engineering graduate from Accra Technical University.
Wow, that's very amazing. That's very beautiful. And so, with the way our Ghanaian system portrays learning these crafts, how can we make it more attractive for people to come into?
Yes, I think the government has started a very laudable program that is a youth apprenticeship program.
Okay.
And I think if you are able to do it well and also power some of the well-established artisans, then we can also take more people and help them to stand on their feet.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So why is it that even with these crafts and artisanry, skills that we can learn, there is still unemployment in the country?
Yes, I think that we lack that understanding of what we want, what to do, and where we are going as a country. You see, Bible says something. It said, therefore, for the children of Issachar understood the time and the season, so they were able to do exploit.
Yeah.
So if you not understand the time and the season, you will not be able to do what exactly you need. And we have to, and people are still holding onto this old mentality of everybody want to be paid by the government, everybody want to do white-collar job, everybody want to be a doctor, a nurse. Why do you have to go under training for 3 years and still sit at home for 3 years waiting for the government to post you? No. You only need 3 years to enroll yourself as a craft person. Then you can get yourself a work to do. In my place, for example, we have a system that after the 3 years, there's opportunity for you to apply, and we employed you.
Okay.
You work for some number of years, you gather some funds, then you can start something on your own.
Okay.
You see, so I think that we have to come to understand that this old mentality of I want, I want to be respected, and I want to do a white-collar job, I want the government to pay me. I think that we have to leave that one and know what we want, what we can do for ourselves. Thank you.
Right. That is also very inspiring. And I want to ask also, how did society, the people around you also, take the news that you were venturing into this, for lack of a better explanation, let me just use blue-collar jobs as the Western world, they call it. How did your society take it that you're not going to become some, engineer, you are becoming a mechanical engineer as opposed to the one on paper or something?
Yes, as I said earlier on, that there's a mentality that says that those who are not good in academically, they normally venture in this kind of work, and they also have it at the back of their mind that you will not be paid well, and a part of it also comes from us. You see, the way we handle ourselves.
Yes, I wanted to ask that.
Yes, the way we handle ourselves, the way we present ourselves. You see, I quite remember that some years back, they said, they are going to take off these mentally ill people around and send them to the psychiatric. The end of arresting most of the welders and the,
Oh, really?
yes, welders and mechanics because of the way they
were
present
looking.
themselves. And so they came with another regulation that then if you are welder, you are going out or you are a mechanic, then put on a watch so that they will know that you are mentally sound. So the way we carry ourselves to discourage others also to be part of us. So I think that it's time for us to also carry ourselves well so that they can put a value on us.
Okay.
Yes.
Because, sometimes you go to the roadside and you realize that the welders, the volcanic, they are wearing these clothes that I don't think Omo can fix.
Yes.
Very dirty looking.
Yes.
And some of them, you go close to them and if you are not careful, you might faint.
Yes.
Are you also agreeing to the fact that this could be part of the reasons why people don't want to go into that? Because when you compare it to the other countries, they have uniforms, they dress properly. I think they have their work clothes there, but they wash them. They use the work clothes for what they have to come and do for you or whatever work service they have to render. And then they go back to wear their uniform. Do you think that this appearance is also a part of it?
It's also a part of it because everybody wants to get himself around someone who is very neat.
Yes.
Yeah, it also counts. Those is someone who said that, okay, I want to be a teacher because the way they dress. Someone say, oh, the way the soldiers dress or the way the nurses dress, I like it. So I want to be part, not because of even the salary, the way they look.
Just the way they look, yeah.
Yes. So I think the way we also look, at times people even don't want to associate themselves to us. So it also counts.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so let me use myself as an example. As a young guy coming up, I've visited most workshops, and normally how they dress, it will put you off. Because in Ghana here, we have a mentality that your working gear or your working attire must be washed after the end of the week, which is very bad.
Yes, very bad.
Because definitely you'll be going out, maybe looking at our scope, we don't normally stay at a workshop. We are going to people's houses, going to factories to work. And when you go out there in a tattered cloth or dirty ones, at the end of the day, we will say first impression counts.
Yes.
You are looking very dirty. So automatically the person will think, you yourself, you don't know what you are up to. And at the end of the day, what are you coming to do? You cannot do anything.
Yeah.
But I believe with time, we need to change that mentality. Most of the firms are now doing their possible best to get a uniform that matches their job very well. So they have the one they are working with, and they have the one that they go out with. And at the end of the day, people are now beginning to show interest.
Okay.
Which is very laudable. And I believe as time goes on, we are going to see changes.
All right. Okay, so now some of these skills you've learned, let's say I'm fresh from school, I've only known the academic parts. How do these skills also prepare me for the job market?
How?
Yes, how would some of the skills, maybe I go and learn hairdressing as a lady, or maybe even like venture into the mechanical parts. how then will I be able to get a job?
Yes. You see, what normally happens is these days we have what we call an internship. So you learn the theory part in the school, then you come out to do the practical aspect.
Okay.
That one help you to know, to lay your hands on the job itself.
Okay.
So after that one, there's opportunity for you to get a work, or you can also create something on your own. You see, this technical and vocational concept is so that you'll be able to do something on your own.
Okay.
You don't need to wait for the government or someone else to employ you. Like my case, for example, that I said, as I was home, I was not doing anything. I started doing something on my own. That, I think that is the best thing that we have to do.
Okay.
That you don't wait for someone to employ you. You wait for some few months, you are not getting someone to employ you. You have to start something that you have learned, that you have acquired, so that you can at least end meet.
Right. Okay. So we have two examples here. We have you who you said you were out of school, you didn't have anything doing, and then you went in. But you finished school and decided to move into that, or what you had a job. You were already even in the more prestigious sector, and then you decided to go into the practical world. So these are two examples that we have here. And this should also tell us that it is very important to learn a skill for yourself. As you mentioned, that sometimes when one side does not work out, the other side would help you. And considering the way the world is going, we need multiple streams of income, right? So with this, how do you think the government can help to make the technical and vocational training even get a bigger audience?
Okay. Yes. I think what you are doing is one thing that we have to all try to, praise. And to do more education about it, and also make it look more attractive to other people who are double-minded. They don't know what to do exactly, whether they should go for it or not. And they should also power those who are on the field so that they can employ more people, or they can engage more trainees.
Okay.
And I will also urge the government to do this program that is doing an apprenticeship program, to do it and do it well, so that they can extend it to other parts of the nation. Yes.
All right.
Okay, so just as my boss said, the government initiated the 1 million coders and also the National Apprenticeship Program. He is trying to change the mindset of the people.
Okay.
That it's not only about the white collar jobs, because when you go to Germany, for instance, Germany, they value those with artisanal skills, because how Bosch are doing their machines, how Mercedes-Benz, everybody wants to buy Bosch machine. Everybody wants to sit in Mercedes-Benz, Volvo and others. It's because of how they've structured their system. Over there, when you go, you realize that they pay much attention to the artisanal part, and that has contributed to their nation becoming one of the best. So, like the initiative the government has taken as at now, we are urging the policymakers to make it a reality, not just by mouth and by words, but make it a reality that we believe at the end of the day to help build Ghana and make Ghana a better place to stay.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So I want to go into our challenges. What are some of the challenges you face as people in the skilled worker force?
Yeah, I think market. You see, some of the things that we produce over here, because we don't have proper machines to attend to the finishing, the standard, the world standard. For that matter, we keep on important things that we can actually do over here.
Okay.
So if we can get better machines to have a good finish, I don't think that some of the things that we import will continue to do so. Like a furniture, for example, we have timbers around that we can do a good furniture. We have metal things that we normally import. We can do a good metal product here, which we don't need to go outside to import. But because we don't have the finishing, we don't have the good finishing, that is one of our major problems because we don't have the machines to help us to do the finishing.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would you like to also add to that with the challenges? What are some of the challenges you face?
The challenges with the side of the machinery, also the other parties, we not believing or trusting in our craftsmen because we believe whatever thing is coming from the Western world is far better than
Yes.
whatever thing that is being produced here. And at the end of the day, it will definitely discourage you if you don't know where you are headed. And it's a very big challenge that we need to look as a nation and work on.
Okay. Now, still on the challenge, you mentioned talent earlier in the beginning, and I want to ask, maybe my own is just this TV thing, but I want to come and do some of the more technical things, but I may not have the talent. Do you think, what are some of the challenges maybe you faced with your students who probably didn't have the talent for it but wanted to learn?
Yes, if the person want to learn, then in every field you have to develop the interest first.
Okay.
If you have the interest, then I think that we can start from somewhere. I had a boy who came out from Galamsey the time they were then chasing them up.
Okay.
He came and he said he want to learn this welding trade.
Okay.
So I started with him. One day he called me. He said, boss, I don't think that this work I can continue. And I said, why? He said, no, I'm not getting anything. I cannot keep anything in my mind. And I said, you, hold on, you wait gradually. Even God can decide to create the whole world a day. But he took 6 days to create heaven and earth and everything that, and he used 1 day to rest. So it's by process. So you just give ourselves some time. And by the God's grace, now we have a project in Tamale. He's the lead guy over there.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So you just have to have the interest first, have the zeal, then the rest, your master just have to have time for you. Then you catch up.
Okay, so as our senior student, maybe we are the juniors coming. Senior, what would you also tell us when it comes to not having the talent and things?
Okay, so just as boss said, you first have to develop the interest.
Okay.
Once the passion is there, understanding the process is very easy. And it's all decisive. You decide whatever thing you want to do with your life. If you decide to follow the crowd, you follow them. But if you decide to go your own path for the crowd to follow you, definitely they will. So you just have to understand that this is where I want to get to. It's going to be difficult. There is no way it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. But this is where I want to get to. So no matter what, I must get there.
Right. Thank you so much. So as a teacher, CEO, boss of all of this, let's be frank. When it comes to unemployment and people wanting to learn a trade, it is mostly fueled by the fact that we don't have what we will eat. Mostly poverty or even unemployment. You don't have a means of making money. Now, when you get students like that who they are just here to learn the thing and go and start something quickly, how do you encourage them to actually put their hearts into the job and learn it properly instead of just thinking about the quick money?
Okay. You see, all that we does over here, over there, is a practical thing.
Okay.
So I have to talk to you and tell you how far I have come. Today that you see me driving a good car and you think that I just started yesterday, no, very far. Then the rest is for you to see how the process works.
Okay.
It's very true that the things will not be easy for you. But then, after the training, you also have the opportunity to apply and work for sometimes, get yourself together, put some few money, then you can also start something. Even in our field, we normally give allowance.
Okay.
At the end of the month, you can have your 900 cedis as a training to buy your small things so that it can also keep you going.
Yes.
If you are going outside Accra, you take about 1,005 cedis for at the end of the month. These things, we are just doing it for you to keep you whilst you are learning the trade.
Okay.
So at the end of the trade too, we know that you cannot just go outside there and start with that money. So if you can humble yourself to stay and work for some times, then you can put something together and start something on your own, so that you don't go outside there and start looking for job.
Right. So how did you maybe manage to convince some of your own colleagues, or how was the experience of some of your colleagues who were just here for the papa?
Okay, so I told them, looking at how the country is, and in this world, every day is a learning process. You cannot wake up to become a master of your own. Even if you want to do magic,
You still need
you
to
still
learn.
need to go through the process. So having the mindset of getting quick money, at the end of the day, is never done anywhere unless you go and kill. Even the killing is a process.
Yeah.
So you just have to understand the process and pass through it. Definitely, there is a day that you look back and say, oh God, I didn't know this was where you were taking me to. So whenever they come and feel like I need quick money, I need to stop, when you come to me, I'll tell you, my friend, let's relax. God's time is the best, and you will definitely get there.
Right. Okay, so yes, to balance the conversation, we have a lady on the line. She's Hannah Efriye. She is the CEO of Hanel's Beauty Plus. It is a beauty salon, and we'll be talking to her to also find out her perspective. You know, we have the men here who are in more of the mechanical engineering, and she is in the vocational training. That's the hairdressing, the beauty. Yes. So, hello, Hannah. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Koko Digest Morning Show. I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm doing well, and you?
I'm also good. So I know that you just completed your national service, but even before that, you already started your own, beauty salon. So how was the journey like? If you can give us a brief, overview of that.
Mm, it wasn't easy, but
Okay.
I think when you set goals, you have your goals set, you know what you are in, you have interest in what you want to do, you can do it, and
Right.
it helped me. But
Okay. And I know you have a few employees. So how did you move from maybe a one-man business to employing other people?
so what I said, once you have once you have an interest in something, like you know this is what I really like doing. So you start with it, you upgrade yourself in that field, and as you keep doing, you get to know you have to expand your territory. So from one step, you realize you have to do other things to expand your territory. That is when I realized I have to add people, I have to teach others, and for the business to grow. So
Right.
that was how everything.
Okay. So as a student, before you went into beauty, what inspired your decision to choose this specific skill?
Okay, you and I know. I after school seeking for job, so I realized I love to make people up. I love this beauty work, and I thought of it after school. I can also come out with something even before, in case I don't get any work after school. So since I already love the work, I decided to go and learn something, and I think it also helped me. And after school, after national service, I have something doing.
Right.
It, yes.
Okay. So your employees that you also have, how are you able to probably pick and choose who gets to do what's based on their interests, or you just allow them to do what they want?
You don't allow them to do what they want, but before you even start with them, you ask them if they really want to do the work.
Okay.
Because if you don't have interest in it, you can't learn much. You wouldn't have the enthusiasm to do more. So you ask them, do you really want to do this work? And if they are really interested in it, you see it. So you just put everyone at where they are good at, and through that they come out perfectly.
Right.
That is how, yeah.
Okay. So before you go, what are some of the challenges you faced so far?
So far, it's the normal challenges and work, sometimes marketing. You have to market more. Sometimes the market is slow, but I think it's the normal challenges we all face.
Okay.
So, cool.
Right. Okay, so lastly, before you go, what would you like to tell your co-national service personnel who have also finished, or anybody that's out there that's yet to get a job with regards to these vocational and technical training or skills?
Learning a vocational skill is a good idea. So if you know you have an interest in something, a vocational skill, either learning, makeup, hairdressing, any other vocational skill, you think you love that skill, you can also go into it. And it helps to reduce unemployment. Since after national service, it's not all about white-collar jobs. Sometimes these are some of the skills you also get yourself into. Then by the time you realize you're also making something out of it, you can get some money from it. So,
Right. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy your day.
thank you, Tiara.
So that was Hannah Efriye, CEO of Hanel's Beauty Plus. She's made me up a few times, and I mean, as always, I'm looking. Yeah. So yeah, some of her handiwork has been on the Koko Digest Morning Show and even on Express Updates here on Clock TV. So now back to you gentlemen. How long does training take when it comes to, maybe I finished school, I want to come and learn? How long will you train anybody before they can also start something?
A maximum of 3 years.
Maximum of 3 years.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So in that 3 years, do you do like a little bit of the book part where I need to know that, okay, this is smelting and this is that?
Yes, we do the theory, basic theory
Okay.
of the job. That on our side, every Wednesday, we do a morning devotion of 1 hour. Then we do safety class.
Okay.
And normal theory for another 1 hour.
Okay. So the people who didn't go to school, how are you able to give them the theory?
Yes. We don't expect everybody to write.
Okay.
But we can just explain for you to know what it is. For example, you hold a electrode, you have to explain it to him for him to know that the electrode is not the complete thing that is electrode. We have the flux, we have the filler rod.
Okay.
So that you have that basic understanding. Yes.
Right.
And those who can write, we encourage them to write MVTI.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so just as he said, at the end of the day, you need to know each and every one, their strengths and their capabilities. So sometimes you go for the class, all right, but after the class, those that didn't get whatever thing that was being taught, they will come back for you to explain it to them further that, oh, this is what sir meant. So afterwards, when they get it, you now realize that they are practicing what they are being taught.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has really helped us a lot.
Okay.
Though, let's say where I was coming from, though I've had the secondary education, all right, but coming to the technical part, you still need to adapt to the system.
Yeah.
So you are definitely going to face challenges, but at the end of the day, with that training, theoretical training, it has really helped.
Right. Okay. So we are wrapping up, and I want to ask: have you had girls also show interest in the mechanical engineering aspects?
Yes, I used to have a very good welder.
Okay.
Yes. We used to have two, eh?
Yeah.
Yes. And recently, 4 also came from Science and Technology for their internship and national service as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's good to hear, even though it's not a lot.
Yes,
Because
yes,
we don't
yes,
really hear about girls entering
Yes,
into
but
mechanics.
when it comes to our field, I normally advise them to add the book to it.
Okay.
Because you cannot beat nature. And after giving birth to 1 or 2, you cannot cut the metal, you cannot carry the heavy load, but you can do the design
Okay.
and supervision.
Okay.
That comes in the book, part of it.
Okay.
So if you're a lady, you don't only concentrate on the metal work alone, the practical aspect, but you attach the book part to it so that even at your old age, you can still work.
Okay.
You can do the designing and the supervision.
Okay.
Whilst the other energetic guys do the welding.
Okay.
Yes.
So, since our time is up, I would like to ask your final words of encouragement to people watching us, learning a little bit about practical skills and TVET.
Okay. Thank you. You see, I think there's nothing better under this world or this earth than you have something that you can control by yourself. Practical work or craftsmanship is something that you, after learning it, it becomes part and parcel of you. No one can take it from you.
Okay.
Even your boss that gives you that training can never take it from you. So it becomes part and parcel of you. So I'll urge everyone. You see, in my house, I told my children that you can go to any school at all that you want to go, but you have to find something that you can do with your hand. Even if you want to be a medical doctor, fine, but you have to learn some skills addition.
Okay.
So that tomorrow, if that one fails, you can still hold onto this one. So I think that we have to encourage each of everyone to take this call very serious so that our world will be a better place for us to live.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I will encourage my fellow youths for them not to look at whatever or listen to whatever thing their colleagues will be telling them that going to have a practical skill is not the best. No, at the end of the day, just as my boss said, getting the practical experience lives with you forever till you are dead. The certificates we get in schools, when you die, it ceases, and even it's being conferred on you. It can be retrieved upon not using it the right way.
Okay.
But the skill, nobody can take it from you. It lives with you forever, and at the end of the day, you will live to see the glory of the Lord for how far He has taken you.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been a very informative conversation. If you don't have anything to do with your hands, I'm sure this conversation has definitely inspired you. So anything that you seemingly have some interesting or you think is nice to do. You can start trying. You can look for some of the avenues to get some training and pick up a practical skill for yourself. You don't know where that skill might lead you. And this brings us to the end of the lifestyle segment. Next is our birthday segment, and then we have the sports.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
You're welcome back, and it's time for our birthday. So let's see whose birthday it is today. So this one says, happy birthday to my beautiful and sexy baby Hannah. I can understand why some people don't believe me when I say that you're my girlfriend, because in truth, I can't believe it either. This is from Clement Zaki. And yes, that's the only birthday we have for today. But a special birthday shout out is going to our very own Pastor Bayo here at Clogsag. He is the resident chaplain here. We love you so much. God bless you for the amazing work you've done, the shoulder you've been to us to cry on, very ever ready to give us words of encouragement and advice. We love you so much. We appreciate you. And God bless you so, so much. And may this new year be the beginning of all the good things that you wish for yourself. And yes, this is the end of the lifestyle segment. We have the sports coming up with Benedict Nkitia Kwarting. You're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And if you're just tuning in, we just wrapped up the lifestyle segment. And now it's time for sports with Benedict Nkitia Kwarting. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, your Ghana Black Stars, they seemingly have done well.
How is it my Ghana Black Stars? It is our very own Ghana Black Stars.
All of us, our own Black Stars.
Yes.
We seem to be doing well. So what's the update?
Yes, so thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Clock TV. And as usual, this is the sports update segment. I'm your host, Benedict Nketia Kwarting. And you know, here we bring you nothing but the best in the world of sports. And we are covering all the action, both local and international. For the past weekend, we've started the international break where we play the international leagues. We are playing the World Cup qualifying, and then as usual, Ghana Black Stars, we are also hoping to qualify for the World Cup in Canada, Mexico, USA 2026. we played our last game, our final game, that was against Comoros over the weekend. And we played our last 2 games. On Wednesday, we played against the Central African Republic, where we won by 5-0, and then yes, on Sunday we played against the Comoros. Mind you, we lost against Comoros back in their home. That was around 2023. That was during the same World Cup qualifiers. We lost against them 1-0, and then coming back home, we were hoping to win because this was our final game. And then, yes, there were lots that was on the line, but we were able to come out victorious. But let me go on. Let me start with our news. Let me start with our stories. First of all, it has to do with the president of the land, President Mahama, issuing out instructing that we should give the Black Stars management and technical team some peace. So yes, we will play voice notes by the president when he was making this comment. But then yes, this is just to encourage Ghanaians. You know, we have about 33 million citizens in Ghana here, and we are all coaches. We all have coaching abilities. But the president is urging Ghanaians to take time, give time for the team, the management of the Black Stars, the coaching team, the coaching staff, and the players. We should give them the room to operate in whatever field they find themselves in. This is what they do as for a living. Yes, he knows that we are also enthusiastic. We are passionate about the team, but let us give them room to operate. Let's listen to the president.
We are one in supporting the Black Stars. The Black Stars is our team. It's a team for all Ghanaians. It's our national team. And so let us support them. Let's also give the management and technical team some peace. I know that we're 33 million coaches in Ghana, but please, let us keep our coaching to ourselves and let the coaches and the managers handle the team without distracting them. There are sometimes we get so emotional, we start insulting some of the players and all that. And in these days of social media, people can say hurtful things, you know, that will affect the mental health of the players. So please let us refrain from those things and support the...
And that is it from the president of the land, President Mahama, instructing, or just not instructing, appealing to Ghanaians to give room for the management of the Black Stars to operate and do what they do best. Let's move on to the next story, which is talking about Ghana winning over Comoros to secure their 5th World Cup qualification. So this is the 5th time Ghana Black Stars is qualifying for the World Cup, and this time to the Canada, Mexico, USA 2026. Yes, it was a joyful day on Sunday for all Ghanaians out there, both in diaspora and back home here, when we won over Comoros by a 1-0, which was scored by Mohamed Kudus in the 47th minute. That was after the second half, when we resumed the second half. Yes, I believe I saw some people saying that, did we adopt the Elvis strategy where he said that we should play the 4-3-2-1 premature formation during the first half, and then the second half we should play the 4-3-2 push formation? Yes. So I believe that's what happened. The second half we started with the 4-3-2 push formation. That's what ended as the goal. But in the beginning we almost conceded when Seydou Al-Hassan missed the ball, and then of course the skippers tried to score a goal, but yes, we were able to recover from that. And then since then we managed to hold the team, hold the game, and this is what is showing on your screen. You can tell from the dominance of our midfielders, Thomas Partey, Kwesisibo, and then the rest of the squad, where we dominated throughout the game. The second half proved very well because the strategy worked for us. It was an exciting day of football. I think that the love that we have for the Black Stars is coming back. So I hope we'll be doing better in the subsequent days that is coming. That is when we go and play for the World Cup. So this is what is showing on your screen during the game against Comoros at the Accra Sports Stadium, the nation's Wembley.
Delivery headed away by GK. And now a free kick given hand side. Comoros looking to do the double against Ghana in this qualifying campaign, but the delivery strike. Ayu swings it in. It's helped on at the near post. But hasn't had much to do yet either tonight. Hasn't really had any real chances at either end. And Jete kind of looking for width on the far side with Annan.
Highlights of on Sunday's game against the Comoros. You can tell that the boys were really good at it. They were very, very dedicated to the game. Let's talk about Partey in the midfield. Him and Kwesi holding the midfield very strongly. Let's talk about the defense. Alexander Jiku, and then of course the goalkeeper Benjamin Asare. These guys were so dedicated. They were so into the game, and then you can tell from the kind of play, the way they were playing, that these boys really wanted the win. Yes, we didn't have a lot to lose in the game because the second best team in our group was also losing. So we didn't, whether winning or losing, we're still going to qualify. But the guys still were pressing, they were still pushing, they were still dominating. In the second half, we took over the game completely. So you can tell that the boys were really dedicated to this game. And I want to congratulate them. I want to congratulate the Ghana Black Stars for what they've done so far. I think we have to applaud the boys for what they've done. Let's look at the record of Otuado. Otuado, he couldn't qualify for the African Cup of Nations, but this World Cup, he's played 8 matches, he's won 7, he's drawn just 1.
Okay.
So you can tell that even though he couldn't qualify for the World Cup, African Cup of Nations, he has redeemed himself, and we have to applaud the man. When he wasn't doing well, the team wasn't gelling, we were all on him. I must confess, I was part. I was on his neck. I was posting. I was tagging him here and there, but the man has proven that he can do the job. He has the men. He just needed time to get them to be together. And I believe during in the World Cup, we'll do better than what we've done. So I think Ghanaians, like President Mahama said, we should give him time. We should give him the room. We should give the team, the management, the players. We should give them the room for them to operate. This is what they do. This is what they do best. Yeah. When they go back to their clubs, they perform better. So back home, we are expecting more than they do. Yeah. But this is the team they don't play with on the norm. So it will take some time. Yeah. So I believe that we should give them that room and all that. Yeah. Let's move on to the next story. That is the Sports Minister, Kofi Adams, confirming the financial rewards for Black Stars Management Committee after the 2026 World Cup qualification. So the Sports Minister, Kofi Adams, the team, the management were promised some money only after the team qualifies for the World Cup. Yes, they are going to receive their salary, they are going to receive whatever benefits that is for them. But anything aside that, bonuses and all that, is going to come only if the team qualifies for the World Cup. And then during one of my stories, in one of the weeks, I mentioned that FIFA is also giving the teams that are qualifying some money for the group stages, for the qualification stages. So the committee, the members, the management, the players are going to benefit from this. I think this is good news for all those who are...
It's even a way to motivate them, because if it was probably back in the day where regardless of how well they perform, they still get something. This time they know that if they don't perform, they may not get anything. They will perform just to show that, yes, we would like the incentives.
That's true. So some videos were popping up after the qualification where we saw Randy Abbey and then the committee members dancing and jubilating, and people were making funny comments that they are not really jubilating because we've qualified for the World Cup. They are actually jubilating because of the money that is coming. This is on a lighter note. Whatever it is, they've worked for it. Even if they are jubilating just because of the money, they've worked for it. It's not easy to bring up a team, people from different spaces to come together to form a team. It's not easy to do that. And so I think whatever it is, the chairman of the committee is Randy Abbey. We have Steve Napier as the vice chairman. So Steve Napier comes in with the football experience and then the technical experience. And of course, Randy Abbey comes in with the management experience and all that. So congratulations to the committee, congratulations to the management and the staff of the Ghana Black Stars. Let me quickly touch on one qualification that has surprised a lot of viewers out there. The Cape Verde qualifying over Cameroon. Just yesterday, Cape Verde qualified over Cameroon, and then Cape Verde has a population of about 500,000 people. That is very few, like just a handful of people. If you are going to quantify it that way, and they have qualified. This is the first time they have qualified for the World Cup, and it's exciting. I watch videos from online, and then they are excited, they are jubilating, they are so happy.
It's the World Cup, so yes, expect excitement.
But you see, from the group stage, the group that they belong to, with the likes of Cameroon and all that, we weren't expecting Cape Verde to emerge. But football is changing. That is what I want viewers to take note of. Football is evolving. Football is growing, and everybody is learning how to play better each day. You get it. Cameroon is a powerhouse when it comes to African football, but Cape Verde overtook them and then won. Today we have matches from the group of Nigeria. Nigeria is third, South Africa is second, Benin is first. And among these three teams, one of them must qualify. It is not easy for the first team, that is Benin, to qualify because Benin is playing in Nigeria. South Africa is, I've forgotten the team they are playing, but if South Africa loses, Benin loses, the third team, which is Nigeria, will overtake the first and second and qualify. If Benin wins, of course, they are first, so they will continue. If South Africa wins and Benin loses, certificate is going, regardless if Nigeria is winning or not. So this group is very, it's quite scary. I wish Nigerians could qualify. I wish for them because they are our neighbors. Yes,
but Benin is also our neighbor.
Yes, but I mean, when we are talking about Anglophone, our Anglophone neighbors is Nigeria. So I wish them the best today. If they lose, there will be Port Harcourt. That's where the port they will belong to. Anyway, let me move on to the international sports news. We have news on some injured players, especially that of Arsenal midfielder Martin Odegaard, who is out until mid-November. So for those who don't know Martin Odegaard, he plays for Arsenal, he plays for Norway, and then unfortunately he's injured. He can't participate in this World Cup qualifiers, this international break. He got injured in October, that is August, sorry, and then he hasn't been able to play until now. And then yes, he's been looking forward to joining his national team or joining the club side to play, but for now he's injured. And then it's sad because Odegaard is a promising player.'s a very good player, but due to injuries, he's been out for some time now, and he's going to be out until November. Maybe during the last period of the international break, that's when he will come back. We have in the likes of Ghana, we have that of Tre. Tre is also injured. Tre is a very good player. He was another pivot in the midfield of Ghana Black Stars. He was playing alongside Partey. So with Partey, Tre, and then Sibo in the midfield, you could tell that Ghana was going to dominate very well. But of course, we have an injured player as well. Hoping he'll come back by the end of this month. And then, of course, we want to wish a speedy recovery to Martin Odegaard and all the injured players out there. We hope and pray that they also recover from this. So this is it for the sports update segment. Thank you very much, Yara, for having me here today. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching us on social media and, of course, in your homes for having us. I want to encourage you to share the link to your families out there, to your friends out there, to be watching Koko Digest Morning Show. Of course, it's the best morning show out there. Thank you very much, Yara. Over to you.
Thank you too for the sports segment. Yes, speaking a lot about Black Stars, trying to encourage some of us, but men say that. But yes, Ghana Black Stars are doing very well, and kudos to all of them. Up next is the business segment, and the sports segment is over.
Hello, good morning, and many thanks for joining me on the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. My name is Peter Insia, and now to our stories. After 2 consecutive weeks of weak investor interest, demand for Treasury bills has bounced back strongly. Latest data from the Treasury showed that last week's auction was oversubscribed, signaling a renewed sense of investor confidence. Government's latest Treasury bill auction saw total bids hitting 6.51 billion Ghana cedis, far exceeding the 5.26 billion Ghana cedis target, a 23.5% oversubscription.
The 91-day bill dominated the auction, attracting 5.41 billion Ghana cedis in bids, with 5.40 billion Ghana cedis accepted. It was followed by the 182-day bill, which recorded 941 million Ghana cedis in bids and 786 million Ghana cedis accepted. The 364-day bill received 150 million Ghana cedis in bids, with 140 million accepted. Market analysts say the rebound was largely driven by strong participation from institutional investors. Meanwhile, yields on the short-term securities showed a mixed performance. The 91-day bill edged up slightly by 6 basis points to 10.53%, while the 182-day and 364-day bills slipped marginally to 12.30% and 12.86% respectively. For the next auction, government is targeting to raise 6.57 billion Ghana cedis. The rebound in demand makes a positive signal for the short-term debt market as investors continue to assess returns amid shifting economic conditions.
Away from that story, in the first 7 months of 2025, government spending was kept below target, demonstrating improved fiscal discipline and expenditure management. The Bank of Ghana's September Monetary Policy Report indicates total expenditure reached 131.1 billion Ghana cedis, or 9.4% of GDP, against a target of 152.6 billion Ghana cedis, representing 10.9% of GDP. This reflects a 14.1% shortfall from the target, but a 9.3% year-on-year increase.
Most spending categories fell short of projections, except for employee compensation, which slightly exceeded expectations at 44.9 billion Ghana cedis. Interest payment decreased to 28.9 billion Ghana cedis, about 19.5% below the 36 billion target, aided by lower domestic interest rates. Capital expenditure sharply declined to 10 billion Ghana cedis, and arrears clearance was below target, indicating improved expenditure control.
And on to our last story, Ghana's revenue performance for the first 7 months of 2025 fell short of expectations, despite a strong year-on-year growth. That's according to the Bank of Ghana's latest monetary policy report for September. The report shows that total revenue and grants for the period reached 116.2 billion Ghana cedis, representing 8.3% of GDP, about 5.5% below the target of 122.9 billion Ghana cedis.
However, when compared to the same period last year, revenue and grants grew significantly by 22.9%. On the expenditure side, government spending remained tightly controlled, coming at 14.1% below target, a sign of improved fiscal discipline. The report noted that the revenue shortfall was broad-based, affecting several key tax lines. Non-oil tax revenue underperformed slightly by 0.2%, while payee fell short by 3.5%, largely due to lower mining sector payments following the cedi's appreciation. On the positive side, corporate tax exceeded its target by 2.8%, driven mainly by strong performance in the mining and financial sectors. Domestic components of VAT, the Get Fund levy, and the NHIL also outperformed their targets, up 2.2%, 14%, and 14.8% respectively, supported by increased consumer spending as prices eased. While revenue targets were missed, the report suggests Ghana's fiscal outlook remains stable, with strong spending controls and improving tax performance across key sectors.
And this is all we have for you on the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Peter Insia. Up next is the main discussion with Nanayao Asari. Remember, the news changes every day, but integrity must never change. Good morning and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Yes, you're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show, the show that keeps you up to date with all the happenings in the world of entertainment, sports, and whatever is going on in and around Ghana and beyond. And today we'll be delving into the topic, the worker and the law, what every Ghanaian must know. We know that there's, should I say, surplus of labor and a deficit of jobs. So that tends to cause some sort of friction between what employees actually want and what they get, and then what employers also want. To help us delve into this particular discussion, we have experts. I'm serenaded here in the studio by labor experts, and then they'll be helping us to do justice to this particular topic. And yes, I'm talking about none other than Mr. McGeorge Kofi Mensah and Mr. Godwin Kwanzaa. They are here to help me delve deeper into this particular topic. So I'll just delve into their profiles a little bit. And Mr. Godwin Kwanzaa is a senior labor officer at the Labor Department. He's a proponent of decent work and the protection of workers' rights. His passion lies in ensuring fair and safe working environments, advocating for equitable treatment and empowering both employees and employers through education and steadfast enforcement of labor standards. He loves to read and travel at his leisure time. So you're welcome, Mr. Gordon Kwanzaa.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and then also Mr. McGeorge Kofi Mensah is also a senior labor officer at the Labor Department with years of experience in advocating for workers' rights and promoting fair labor policies in Ghana. He's passionate about fostering harmonious employee relationships and ensuring compliance with labor laws in this country. He loves to swim and travel during his leisure time. Mr. McGeorge, you're welcome as well. Yes, and as always, my name is Nanaya Asari. It's a pleasure to come to your homes, your screens, your phones to bring you the best when it comes to morning show content. And so we'll first start, or we should get into it. I'm interested. You said you're a swimmer.
Yes.
Can you maybe after this particular show?
We can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yes.
Sure. And then, yes, now let's go into it. The foundations of labor. We hear people saying labor. Labor. What is labor? Is it when women are going to give birth after they are 9 months, or what is labor? Can you expand on that for us?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, and a good morning to your cherished viewers. For the purpose of this discussion, I would say labor is services that are rendered by workers for remuneration, not what we think as women going to give birth and the rest, but what workers do or the services they render employers for remuneration. For the purpose of our discussion, I would say that is labor.
Okay. So another would ask, if people are going to render services and all that, they are called labor. But then, are there laws that actually govern this particular labor that we are talking about?
Yes, in Ghana, there is a law that governs employment relations, and it is the Labor Act 2003, Act 651. It's a law that has all components of employment in there. You talk about, it has portions for employers, it has portions for workers or employees. It also has portions for the unions, as well, because the tripartite engagement. So everybody has a stakehold in that Labor Act, and it is supported by other relevant laws that govern its operations. For example, there's the Workmen Compensation Act, there is the Children's Act, and then others.
Well, a lot of information beating my head at the moment. You mentioned one big word that a lot of my viewers may not be conversant with. You mentioned the word tripartite. What does it mean? I don't see it there.
Tripartite in this sense is basically saying three.
Okay.
So in the world of work, there's the employer, there's the government, and then there's the union. The union basically advocates of workers. They advocate for the rights of workers, and in some cases also the employers. So the tripartite, in this sense, talks about these three core people that come together in the world of work.
Okay, so that is what the labor laws touch on all three. That's what you were trying to explain.
Yeah.
That so the labor laws will first encompass areas that will talk about the employee. Yeah. We'll talk about the employer, and then we'll talk about the unions too.
Of the union.
Okay, all right. So what are some of the institutions? Because if there are laws surrounding labor, then there should be institutions that are enforcing these labor policies and practices. So what are some of the institutions that do that?
Okay, so some of the institutions that enforce the Labor Act or are key players in the Labor Act, first and foremost is the Labor Department. We have the National Labor Commission. And when it comes to issues of factories and shops act, we have the Factories and Shops Department. Okay. We have like Domestic Workers Regulation, and we have like so on and so forth.
So that means even in labor, there are different aspects.
Yes, they are key players that come together to enforce the whole law.
Interesting. But would you say that these laws promote decent work and protect both the employer or the employee? Because sometimes when we look at this, employers will be on one side and be thinking that the labor laws may be swayed to just the employee side just to protect them. How are the employers also catered?
So when you look at the Labor Act, it has the rights of employers and it has the rights of employees. So the law is not one-sided. As he said earlier, it takes care of employers and employees as well. We have the rights and duties of the employer in there. We have the rights and duties of an employee in there. So it's not just one-sided.
Then I would also want to add that in the formation or in the development of the act, it is not the government alone who stays to draft the bill or the act and all of that. It takes stakeholders, consultations with stakeholders. Everybody who has a part to play is invited to make their inputs before we come out with a consolidated act or a consolidated law that governs our employment space. So nobody will feel aggrieved. Yes, you may give your inputs, but because it's, again, a tripartite discussion, everybody gives a say, and then there's a balance to which level one can go, or the employer or the employee can push for that right. So the law as we have it is not discriminatory. It is all encompassing. Everybody has a role to play in it.
So that's to say, if so the was some Koko first, and let's say be so if you actually have an issue or you present an issue to the labor department, that doesn't mean that you are sort of as an employee or any part, you are in the right in whatsoever. So viewers, if you're watching us, we are still here talking about the work and the law, what every Ghanaian worker must know. And I said it earlier, I'm serenaded by brilliant minds from the Labour Department, Mr. Godwin Kwanzaa to my immediate right, and Mr. George Kofi Mensah, who are helping me do that justice to this particular work. But now I want us to move on to working conditions and rights. Shortly, also, we shall be opening the phone lines. Let me not forget, we shall be opening the phone lines so you can call in and bring your requests and then your concerns and let us know. We have labor experts in the house to be able to help us to address most of your issues and your concerns. Yes, I said we're going to working conditions and rights. So people get employed, and then most of the time we see them working from morning to night without any additional compensation. What are the allowed working hours, or what are the standard working hours, if I can put it that way, so that every Ghanaian worker should actually be under?
Okay, so the Labor Act stipulates the working hours of every Ghanaian. That is 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. So if you are working beyond that, the law also gives room for overtime.
Yeah.
So once you are working more than 40 hours a week, it's considered overtime, and the law mandates the employer to pay overtime. However, a lot of people think that, okay, I'm working 10 hours in a day, but when you sum it up, when you sum up the 10 hours at the end of the week, it still amounts to 40 hours. So when you are looking at this particular topic of working hours, it's like it's not a straight jacket that you should work straight 8 hours in a day. There are shift systems in our country. So when you add all together, it should be 40 hours in a week.
So for every worker not to be cheated,
yes,
if I can put it that way, whatever employment contracts that you are under shouldn't go beyond 8 hours of work per day.
Yes. However, the 8 hours, they are shift systems. The law is like is liberal. An employer would want you to do 10 hours in a day, but when you add it up in a week, it doesn't exceed 40 hours. 40 hours. Yes, so it shouldn't exceed 40. Once it exceeds 40 hours, there's a room for overtime payment.
So when you say a week, just before you come, sorry, when you say a week, are we meaning the whole 7 days or
No,
just the
5 working days? 5 working days.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Godwin, you wanted to come
I wanted to add that in an institution where the arrangement is such that you work 8 hours continuous, 8 hours non-stop, you are entitled to 30 minutes of break or of rest, which is inclusive in the 8 hours.
Okay.
However, within that 8 hours, if there is going to be a break, you are entitled to an hour break, which is independent of the 8 hours. So yesterday, for example, I was speaking with a friend, and she works in the banking industry, and she was saying that she works for 8 hours straight, no rest for her. She is not even allowed to eat because that's the nature of the work. And so for someone like that, within that 8 hours, you are entitled to 30 minutes of rest, which is inclusive of the 8 hours. However, if your work is such that, let's say, I'm giving an example, you work 8 to 5. From 8 to 12, it is 4 hours. 1 to 5 is also 4 hours. So within that 12 to 1, you can take your break or your rest period. I mean, it's not a straight jacket as though 12 to 1, but anytime within a that continuous service.
So it could be, if you start working at 8, 4 p.m. should be the 8 hours for you, or 5 p.m.
If you are
working continuously.
If you are working continuously, yes.
So 4 p.m. should be your. So let's say if you work and then it's 3:30, you can go on your break since it's within that 8 hours, and it's backed by law, so people can actually do that. But sometimes you see employers trying to set stringent break times for their workers. Is that also backed by law? That, for instance, we are working from 8 to 4 every day. Now, when it's 12, we want you to go on break for everybody. Is that also backed by law, that the employers can set the times that the employees should go for break, or the employees themselves can choose as and when they want to go on their break?
For purposes of break, I would say it's institutional based on your operations and how you conduct your services. If it would be the need for you to go after an hour, so that for the remaining period you can go for take your work and take your rest, you can do that. But if it doesn't allow for it, at whichever point you think it is okay for you to go for the break or rest, you can also go. Because let's say if you are in an office space and you are only 2, you can't say because 8 to 5, 1 hour, you are all breaking. If work stops, it may affect productivity. So we advise that maybe I go a little bit earlier, but that's based on the agreement in the institution organization.
Right. So if you're hearing this for the first time, don't be surprised. It's supposed to be based on internal agreements. Agreement means in consultation with both the employers and the employees, and then they actually agree on something that the employer will also not be at a loss. That's during my peak hours that I'm getting customers. You are deciding to go on a break. So there has to be an agreement there. Thank you very much for these insightful suggestions and input into this particular morning show. But then let's go on to the National Daily Minimum Wage. What is it? What is it about? What is the National Daily Minimum Wage?
Okay. The National Daily Minimum Wage is a yearly wage that the tripartite committee, as he said earlier, comes together to determine based on the consumer price index of the country. So currently the national minimum wage stands at 19 cedis, 97 pesos. Okay. Just like our jurisdiction, it is daily national minimum wage, not hourly. The confusion is in other jurisdictions like the US and the rest. You have theirs pegged at an hour, but ours is daily. So it's not like that. Secondly, I want to add up that in the determination of the minimum wage, a lot of factors are considered. Just like the living standards, the prices of commodities and all of that. So it's not just something that government sits somewhere and decides that, okay, this is the minimum wage we decide this year. It's like it's a collective agreement decision made by the tripartite committee on a yearly basis.
Well, thank God that we've explained the term tripartite. Yes. But just as I thought we were done with the big words, they hit me with another one, a consumer price index.
Yeah.
What is it about?
So, like, it's the consumer price index is the purchasing, like, the goods or the purchasing power of, like, the goods and services of, like, in the market.
Okay, so that's the consumer price index, and that is also considered in setting the daily minimum wage. Got it. Okay. Now let's look at. You said ours is pegged at daily.
Yes.
And then we also know that the maximum hours of work that you can work in a day, or not the maximum, but you're supposed to work in a week at 40.
Yes.
So 40 hours. Yeah. So when you multiply that by the number of days, the 19 points, can we find an hour wage for Ghanaians, or we still peg it at a day as it is?
It's our system doesn't allow us to reduce or form it at hourly basis.
Okay.
However, our system allows us to even go further to peg it at monthly basis.
Okay.
So if you are calculating the monthly minimum wage each Ghanaian in the country should be earning, you multiply the 19.97 times 27 working days that is stipulated by the law to get the monthly minimum wage, for which no Ghanaian worker should be paid below.
By mentioning this, you've made me remember my mathematics teacher. Let me pick up my calculator and do some of the calculations over here. So we mentioned that 19.97, that's the daily minimum wage
for 2025.
For 2025.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come into how it's reviewed. But now 19.97 for a day.
Yes.
Then let's multiply that by
27 working
and we'll
days.
see that by 27. And that gives us 539 cedis.
Yes.
19 pesos.
Yes.
That is what no worker should earn less than in Ghana.
Yes. Once you are earning less than that, there's a violation of the law.
Hey, then a lot of people are being violated.
Yes, a lot of people are not aware, but
wow,
we are here to talk to them about it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, we'll get into the violations part.
Okay.
But how often is this reviewed or revised?
The minimum wage. It is a yearly thing. It is revised every year.
So when do they revise it? And maybe at the time they are revising it, prices of goods are cheaper. And then they set it there, and then when we start working showing us shaggy. When is it reviewed? Do we have an idea, or it is as and when it is needed?
No, it's reviewed within the year, but it's dependent on the availability of all stakeholders. So I know that currently the tripartite committee is meeting to set next year's minimum wage. So they set it ahead of time, and then they make sure that they consider all other things before coming out with one.
Including the consumer price index.
Yes.
Today I'm learning a lot of things, and I hope you are doing that too. So a reminder that we are here talking about the work and the law, what every Ghanaian worker must know. And exactly at 9:30 we'll be opening the phone line so that you can also bring in your suggestions. But don't forget that you can also send us messages whilst this particular program is going on via our WhatsApp number 0500500421. I will be kind enough to read it for you. We are still talking about the daily minimum wage, consumer price index, National Tripartite Committee. big words all over. And now let's look into it, and then go after talking about the national daily minimum wage. Are there types of employment, or does this fall under all employment types?
Okay, so the types of employment as stipulated by the law is in three folds. And it is categorized based on remunerations. That is salary basis.
Okay.
The first one is month-to-month employment contract.
Okay.
That is, just as the name depicts, it is actually the type of contract that the worker is paid on a monthly basis. The second one too is week-to-week employment contract, and that, just as the name depicts, is paid on it. And there's one determinable at will. that one falls, and it is neither month to month or weekly, as at when the employer and the employee decides to decides or agrees to. That is when. However, there's a general understanding of types of employment. That is the permanent, fixed term, temporary, and casual. But per the Labor Act or the laws of the country, the types of employment contracts are categorized in 3 sections, just as I said earlier.
But while we were talking, you talked about employment and then you talked about contracts.
Yes.
So does that mean every employment should be based on a contract?
Yes.
When I say contract, not just about an agreement, must that agreement be in writing for me to know that truly I've employed you and then you're working for me?
Yeah. So I would pose this question. I as labor officers or labor inspectors, we are supposed to conduct inspections in workplaces or in enterprises. And in one office I visited, I was told by the employer that he's had this verbal agreement with his workers that he just started the business. In 3 months' time, the term will be over or business will be over. And based off on how business goes within this 3 months period, he would know what to pay them or how to pay them. In such a situation, what would you say? Would it be wrong to have a contract, or it would be essential to have a contract?
You are the expert, unless you answer it yourself.
So yes, I mean, I was just saying that to draw our attention to the fact that employment or contracts are essential in our everyday life. You don't know the essence of it till you fall foul of it.
Yeah.
So I asked him if at the end of the 3 month period, the employer comes and says you be agreed that you paid me 5,000. Then the employer, you then now say, no, the agreement was to pay you 2,000. On whose word do we determine what is right or who is right or who is wrong? You understand?
Yeah.
So it's imperative that in all organizations, both for employers and then for employees, make sure that you have your contract written, and then it's even embedded in the law that employers are to provide the contract of agreement to workers. So if you are in an establishment and your employer has not served you your contract of employment, go and ask him. If you are also an employer who has not given who has not given your employees contract stipulating what the terms and modalities of the work, make sure that you do the right thing.
So this implies to all categories of work, including people who just come and help you. And then, but then I want to find out whether there can be employment contracts that are implied, not based on conduct. For instance, I'm not talking about just rendering of services. For instance, but then I'll use this example just to give clarity. If you hear somebody out working outside with a box and then knocking the box, Koko, you realize that person is likely to be a cobbler, or how we call him, a shoemaker. Yeah. So now you call the person, hey, shoe. Then the person comes without saying a word. You go and bring your shoes from the room, and then you put it there for him, and then he polishes it. If you should come again and say that, we didn't have any contract for you to do this particular job for me, then it might be as though you are violating he's worked for you and you are violating paying him for the service that he's rendering. Now, I want to find out whether there are some employment contracts that can be implied by the conduct, just as though you didn't open your mouth to tell the shoemaker anything, but just by virtue of you being calling him and putting your shoes out, it's implied that you are asking for his services to be rendered to you.
Again, so if as I was saying earlier, we are okay till something comes out of it, so till an issue arises. So yes, you can have an implied contract where, okay, based off an agreement, this is how we will go about it. But the issue arises when there is some sort of disagreement. That is when we see the relevance or the essence of it. But that notwithstanding, if you decide that this one, that is between you two. But if at the end of the day, someone says, no, I want this, that's where the essence of it. But it's up to both of you you the employer or you the employee.
But the law is also mandating, although it's up to both of you, the law is mandating that you have it. Ideally, you have it in writing.
Yes.
Perfect. So today we are learning a lot of things. We've learned Consumer Price Index. We've learned National Tripartite Committee. We've learned National Daily Minimum Wage. We've learned that no worker in Ghana should receive less than 538 cedis, 17 pesos per month.
Yes.
And then we are also going ahead and we are learning that every employment contract should be in writing and it's backed by law.
Yes.
So if it should be in writing, I'm sure some employers are watching us and they are listening. What are some key elements that should be in there for it to be considered a valid employment contract?
Okay, so when you are drafting a contract, the labor law has schedules behind it. In like the labor law, it gives you a schedule. I mean, the Schedule 1 gives you a typical example of how, or the basic minimum of a contract. And for you to have a valid contract, you need the name of the employer, the name of the employee, you need the date of first appointment, the remuneration, and terms of conditions. However, this is the basic minimum.
Basic.
Yeah.
So for someone watching me who wants to draft an employment contract, because he's learning now that every employment contract should be in writing, and for an employee also who may not have, for instance, a shopkeeper who may not have received a formal letter from his employer is also watching and maybe wanting to know the key elements that should be in. So you said the name of the employer, the name of the employee, the date of first appointment, the remuneration, and then the terms and conditions.
Job title.
Job title.
Yes, job title.
Okay,
yes.
Job title, terms and conditions. So these are all, thank you very much for coming in here today because we are learning a lot. I don't know about you viewers, but I am really learning a lot and I'm enjoying this particular session that we are having over here. So how important is it for employees to understand the terms within the contracts that they are signing? Because there are lots of times that, just as we've talked about, some of these elements may not be present in there. I may come and speak to you and say that, oh, memo 5,000 Ghana cedis. And then, as you mentioned, at the end of the month, maybe what is written over there, because you can't read and write, is 2,000 Ghana cedis. Then how is this particular one going to go on? How is it important for workers to understand what they are getting themselves into when it comes to that?
It is very important for the workers to understand the contract they are signing. And even the law advises that you, the employer, you explain the nitty-gritties or in details the contract for the employee to understand before he or she signs. Because in the cases of misunderstandings and all of that, we ask, did he understand the contract he signed? And both of you have to be on the same level for us to carry on. You can't just give a contract, hidden clauses and all of that and give it to an employee to sign. You need, and the employee too has the right to ask for clarification. If he or she is not satisfied or doesn't understand anything, you have the right to ask for clarification.
Take the contract away?
Yes, you can actually take the contract, give it to somebody you think has like understanding of what contracts are, or even your lawyer to explain the contracts to you before you append your signature.
Okay, I would want to add a little to what he said. You know, the Labor Department, as we have it, we have public employment centers, PECs, as we term it, in all the districts in the country, most districts in the country. And for everybody, I mean, our services are open and are free. For anybody who receives, yes, our services are free. For anybody who receives an employment or a contract that you don't understand, you can walk into any of the labor offices or the public employment centers and then let the labor officer there review whatever you have. So if he reviews and then he notes certain things, he can point it out to you. Do you know what is stated here or there? If not, then you can go back with him, because we are the, I wouldn't say custodians, but yes, custodians of the law. We can better advise you if you don't have any understanding or you are not clear on what to do. We are in all the most districts in the country and our services are free. So for anybody who has a contract that you don't understand, visit any of our offices and then discuss with the labor officer, this is what you've received. What do you think? Or is this part, or like, just so you have a fair idea of whatever is stated there. So at the end of the day, nobody will say I've been cheated or you've gone against me. Yeah.
But just because you mentioned the public employment centers, the PECs, how do we identify them? Are they with the regional coordinating councils, or they are standalone in the districts that you mentioned?
Some of our public employment centers are standalone. Some too are in the district offices.
So like the district assembly office?
Yes, district assembly. Okay. And we have regional labor offices in all the regions in the country. Okay. So you can visit the regional labor offices too. We have offices in the municipal MCEs too.
Okay. All right. These are quite a lot of information. Today, we are overloading us with information because truly, people do not know this.
Yes.
People just get given contracts and then they sign them without getting anything. So if I even have a contract between myself and a different employer, or someone that I'm rendering service to, the person I can bring that particular contract to you for clarification. And then you mentioned hidden clauses. You'll be able to tell if there are hidden clauses in there and the likes for me to be well advised or abreast with.
Yes. So even to add up to what you said, the public employment centers don't just exist to do that, but just like the private employment agency, Jobberman and the public employment center, which is the government center, facilitates job promotion. So if you're a job seeker and you are looking for a job, you can walk into any of our offices, you get your details registered, and we have employers who also come to declare vacancies. We have like a public employment center right here in Accra, just adjacent Kempiski. That takes job seekers. So just like you go to Jobberman and the rest, you can walk to the government.
And this time around it's free.
Yes, every service we offer is free.
It has always been free.
It's free.
So why don't people take advantage of these things? Would you say the educational drive is not really there as it should be?
It's for this reason that we are here educating your viewers to also advise their family members and everybody that they come into contact with. Employment issues are very thorny in this nation, so once we get the basics right, we can always move on.
Because people sit at home and then they have their certificates and then they say, meanwhile, there are agencies, there are public employment agencies, and they are ready and they have vacancies with them that they can, when you come, they can direct you or they can even take it up and make sure that you get employed. So really, there are institutions in here that work, but then it's just that the public must be well educated about them. Anyway, let's not sway away from what we want to talk about now. Now, I want us to delve into leave when it comes to work. Now, we hear people saying that I've been working for about 5 years without leave. My madam will not let me go on leave. Some of these workers that are, let's say, day-to-day, hairdressing, barbering, all these places, shopkeeping, even on Christmas Day, they are not allowed to go on leave. Is this legal?
Okay, so when it comes to the conversation about leave, every employee is entitled to a minimum of 15 working days in a year. I repeat, every employee is entitled to a minimum of 15 working days leave in a year.
Minimum?
Yes, barely like the barest.
Does that include weekends?
No, working days.
Working days?
Yes.
Wow.
Working days.
Wow.
And regardless of the 15 minimum working days leave, there are other leaves too, such as sick leave, compassionate leave, and maternity leave, soon to come paternity leave, and all of that.
So when this happens, they'll still be paying you.
Yes.
Whilst you're on leave.
All the leaves stated in the law are paid leaves.
So imagine I work with Auntie Ames cold store.
Yes.
I'm the chief butcher over there who I mean I'm be treated number. So then if I'm not there, it's going to affect my employer's business. If my employer says that I need you around for all the times that you're going to be on leave or you're supposed to go on leave, the employer clearly understands that I can go on leave. Can this leave be deferred to maybe the next year or carried over to the next year? Or can it be converted to cash? Say, you don't want me to go on leave. Okay, so then I'll charge you for my leave days that I'm spending in the office, because I'm supposed to go for a minimum 15 days, which is almost a week to 1 month. So can it be done?
So I would say that in the interest of the employer, it would be best if you have your workers ready and fit for service. You would bear with me that working 365 days in a year is not an easy task. That is why the law mandates that every worker should be entitled to at least 15 working days. Maybe in your organization, you may have more, you may have better, 20, 30, however, but minimum 15 working days. And you realize that at a point, if you are tired or when you are overwhelmed with work, productivity drops.
That's true.
Productivity drops.
That's true.
So it would be prudent for you to encourage your worker to go on leave and not commute it to cash in any way or in any form. Moreover, the law mandates that as employers or as businessmen and business owners, we are supposed to give notices to our employees at least 30 days before the commencement of their leave. So before the year ends, as the HR or as the business owner, they are supposed to ask your employers to bring in their leave days or schedules so that you can plan, so that if you have two people, both will not go at the same time. Okay. So you can plan and arrange it. And then 30 days before the leave commencement, you give them a notice that, Madrosh, or Kwame, you mentioned that you were going on leave on this date, so make sure that you go. Then when the employee goes and he returns reinvigorated. So I would rather advise that instead of commuting into cash, allow the workers to rest. But workers, can it be done? You also make sure you go on leave, go and rest.
Rest. Everybody needs rest. Even God rested on the seventh. So everybody needs rest. You can't work throughout the whole year. No. You need to rest.
Interesting there.
And mind you, in the case where, as a worker, you've been called back from your leave, you are still entitled to the number of days or period you were called back. Maybe they needed you urgently, so you had to forgo your leave and return, come and complete an assignment.
So let's say 3 hours.
Oh no, not 3 hours. Once you come, you've come for a day.
Also,
once you've come, you are entitled to it after the elapsement of your agreed period.
Wow. Yeah. Do workers really know this? Because I feel sometimes they may not really have the best of information when it comes to this. But that is why you are here to educate them again. But I want to find out, we'll be going for a short break, but before then, I want you to elaborate on the leave again. You mentioned maternity leave, soon to be paternity leave, soon to be included as paternity leave. You mentioned sick leave, casual leave, or compassionate leave.
Yeah.
So are all these embedded in the 15 days?
No. So the maternity leave, the sick leave and all of that is not part of everyone is entitled to an annual 15 days leave. However,
that is
after your leave, things may come up. You may be sick. We are human beings. So the sick leave is not included. The maternity leave is not included in the 15 working day annual leave.
So should, in case someone gets sick in their workplace and the person doesn't come to work for 2 days, is that supposed to be deducted from their 15 days?
No.
Leave?
Once you have a medical certification to show that you are sick and you are not well and you need 2 days off, that is sick leave. Your 15 days annual leave is still intact. Yes.
Wow.
We know some employers will be like, you even took few days to go for a funeral, you did this and this. No. Those are not part of the annual
So you talked about funeral. Is that also part compassionate leave?
Yes, that's compassionate leave.
So if I should go on the funeral...
If you are bereaved, let's say, for example, you lose a close relative, your family, any family member, and you take 3 days leave off. That's compassionate leave. It's not part of the 15 working day leave.
But for purposes of abusement, it is limited to close family relation.
Yes.
You can't
Other
say
than
your
that, Ubi Abeba
grandmother
said.
somewhere has died, so you'll be abusing it. So it's limited to your close relatives.
A lot of information for me to digest. But so for it to be sick leave or for it to be confirmed as sick leave, there must be a doctor's or medical certification. If indeed I was sick, I didn't go to the hospital, but I was sick. Clearly, I was sick. Not malaria, and I took some medication, self-medicated at home, and I was okay. Can't it still be classified as sick leave if indeed I was sick, but the doctor doesn't know?
Okay, if indeed you were sick, all these things boils down to communication with your employer. Once you've been able to tell your employer that you were sick and your employer understands that you were sick, it's sick leave. He gives you sick leave.
Interesting there. A lot of information for us to digest, but please do so while we go for this short commercial break. We'll come back and we'll delve into more meat. We have more filler coming from the Labour Department. Don't go anywhere. Yes, and we are back. We are still on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Today, we are talking about the work and law. We're having experts from the Labour Department to actually delve into this particular topic with us. My name is Nanaya Asare. Yes, we promised that the phone lines will be open at 9:30. I'm sure a lot of you watching have some questions that you want to ask the Labour experts in our house, and then they'll be kind enough to answer those questions for you. Now, we'll get into it. Or should we do a recap? Maybe we'll do a recap after, but let's get into the meat of things. We've talked about leave. Now let's talk about termination and dismissal.
Okay.
What constitutes lawful termination? What can I say what can you do for your employer to say that
So the law for fair termination, for a termination to be considered as fair, the law allows for it to satisfy certain conditions. And one of those conditions is that it must be a case of redundancy, where maybe business operations are not going well or there's a need to restructure operations. For which reason, some workers may be affected. So if that is established, then you can terminate unemployment of a worker, and it's considered fair. But for even that, for purposes of redundancy or restructuring, you are supposed to notify the chief labor officer in writing 3 months ahead of that activity.
So you're supposed to notify the chief labor officer
Yes.
in writing.
Yes.
The chief labor officer at the labor department.
Yes.
So every employer is supposed to notify him in writing.
Yes.
If
If
you are
your
embarking
conditions of termination is under the grounds of
redundancy.
or restructuring, that is there. Then an employer can also terminate your employment when he determines that you are incompetent for the role.
Interesting. So that one has to also be in writing to
No.
them as well.
The activity redundancy is an activity, just like you are going through a structural adjustment and you've realized that I don't need this particular workers anymore.
Because you've got machines that
yes,
can do
now
that
you've
work.
got AI machines and all that can do that, so you don't need this particular set of workers anymore. Before you lay them off, you need to write to the chief labor officer. Before you lay them off, that's what redundancy is all about. But when you are talking about, or when you are doing like regular terminations, as for that, you have like, there are little conditions or basic things that you, like the employee should do before. An example would be like, let's say you have an employee who has gone to steal, like wrong, or done something wrongful, or like corruption and all of that. You can lay the person off. When the person is ill, terminal illness, and the person cannot work to, there are processes you go through to lay the person off. And if you realize that like the person is incompetent, let's say there was falsification of documents to get the job and all of that, all of these things are grounds, or they are rights of like the employer, for the employer to lay the employee off. And they are considered fair.
I was going to ask what constitutes the term incompetence, but I think you mentioned something in relation to that.
Forgery.
That if there's forgery of the documents. Apart from that, can an employer say that I was expecting, if you didn't forge any documents or whatsoever, I was expecting you to produce maybe 20 bags of rice for me every month, but you produce just 18 bags of rice or 15 bags of rice. Can that be lawful enough, or can that be fair enough to say that I'm standing on this to say that you are incompetent?
So I would say that when you look in the law, it gives certain responsibilities to the employer. So as an employer is supposed to provide the worker or the employee with materials for work. So if you come to work, you are supposed to make produce 20 blocks.
Okay, just hold your thoughts. We'll continue. Don't go anywhere. We have a caller on the line who wants to. Akwesi is from Tema. Akwesi, let's hear you. Hello, Akwesi.
Yes, please.
Yes, let's hear you. You're live on air.
Yes. Thank you so much. I just tuned into your program. Very educative.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And I have a question, please, for your panelists.
Okay. They are listening,
sir. They are very knowledgeable. And the question I would like to ask is this. Now, when you move into an area where you notice that the workers are lazy, they always give excuses here and there. And can you write a contract that is renewable every month in case they make mistake, that you can get rid of them?
So Akwesi from Tema is asking that if you are into a business or you have workers that you're employing, can you make the employment based on the employment contract based on every month, that's renewable every month, that at the end of this particular month, then it's renewed for you, so that in case they violate in a month, or you realize that they are incompetent in that particular month, or you realize that they are not up to the standard that you want them, then you do not renew that particular contract the following month.
So you would notice that in his earlier submission, he mentioned some 3 categories of employment contract, where he said it is by month, by week, by week, or determinable at will. So in the likelihood that you would want to go by month, the law mandates you to set a monthly structured contract for employment.
Okay. I'm sure Akwesi has been answered there. So there are different types of employment, week by week, month by month, but just that you have to make sure that it's all stipulated in the writing, the date of appointment, the duration, and all that. Today I'm learning a lot. I'll leave you a labor expert. So now we are still on termination and dismissal, and before you actually cut, you were on your submission. We were talking about what constitutes lawful termination and what constitutes the fact that if you are deemed incompetent, what is actually supposed to be in there as the meaning of incompetent.
The law mandates for the employer to provide certain materials for you to perform or to do your duties. So if you, the employer, you say he is to produce 20 blocks, but you've not provided the materials and resources for him to produce that 20 blocks, you can't say you don't produce 20 blocks, so I'm terminating your appointment. Then again, it is also the responsibility of the employer to train and retrain the employee. So if you're in an establishment where you as the employer, you are bringing in new machines, new tools, you are changing the dynamics of the working environment, it's incumbent on you to train the employees so that they will be up to speed with the new innovations that is coming up. So if you satisfy all these criteria, I've given you tools or resources to work with. I've done this for you. You've gone on your leave. You've returned. You are well rested. You have 20 cement blocks, sand, everything, and you still underperform. Then I am within my rights to terminate our employment. But if I perform as expected, you don't train me, but you expect me to perform magic for you. It's not good.
Just to add up to what he said. So the issue of incompetence is mostly arises when like the employees lie about what they are capable of doing. An example would be like you go for an interview, you are asked, can you do this, can you do that? You say yes, and all of that. Now fast forward, you've been hired, the job has been given to you. Now prove yourself. You said you could do graphic designing, this and that and that. Now the job is right in front of you. Let's do. Over the period, your employer realizes that no, like this is not something you can do. You are now either learning or you are now trying to find ways to get the job done. That actually could amount for incompetence. You cannot do the work, but you lied earlier and you got the job. And most people do that.
Under pressure.
But small pressure.
Yes, small pressure, yeah.
So all of this.
All right. So now, are there different types of dismissal, or dismissal be dismissal? Can a dismissal be or a termination be fair, unfair, lawful, unlawful?
Oh, there are types of like dismissals. As we said earlier, there can be, as there's lawful dismissing, there's also unlawful dismissing. So like the types of dismissals, we have this summary dismissal, simpliciter, and constructive dismissal. So the summary dismissal is it's usually when like an employee does something, wrongful act, you go and steal, you go and do that thing. The employer has the right to dismiss you right away, immediately.
In summary,
yes, like simple, no plenty talk. You now you've gone to do something, you've come, report yourself.
So that's the summary dismissal?
Yes, that's the summary dismissal. The dismissal by simpliciter is when you are given notice, lieu of notice. So more often than not, you hear employers and employees saying, or especially employees saying, I'm dismissing this person, but you are giving notice. And even with the simpliciter dismissal, the notice types depends on your longevity in the work.
Just hold your thoughts there. We'll continue. So you're on simpliciter dismissal.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
Sure.
Now we have Nadia from Bolga on the line. Hello, Nadia.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nadia. Let's hear you.
I want to thank you for the program and for them coming to educate us about the labor and law in Ghana. I have 3 questions for your panelists.
You have 3 questions for us, but can you speak up, please, so we can hear you?
I said I have 3 questions for your panelists.
Okay, 3 questions. All right, let's hear you.
Yes, so my first question has to do with if you are a worker and your contract is yearly based, does that mean that your employer has to give you a contract each year, even if your conditions of service still remain the same? Yes. And my second question is the daily, the minimum wage for the month. Is it referring those with certificates or even shop attendants are entitled to that kind of
Nadia, can you take your second question
monthly
again?
wage?
So your first question is on your employment contract, whether the conditions remain the same.
Does the employer have to give you every year?
Okay. And then your second question.
The second question has to do with the monthly minimum wage. Is it for those with certificates, or even if you're a shop attendant, you are entitled to that amount?
Okay. And then your third question as well.
Yes, the third question has to do with if you are the only person in your office, and as I heard them clearly, you are entitled to annual leave. How do you get to go for your leave if you are the only person in the office?
Thank you very much, Nadia. Perfect questions that have been brought to bear. So I'll ask you, would you want to continue with Simplicita, or we'll answer it and we'll continue?
Let me answer the question.
So the first one is on employment contracts.
Yes.
The second one is on minimum wage. Is it for only those with certificates, or it's for everyone? And then the third one is on, just as she mentioned, if she's the only person in her office, how then is her leave going to be structured?
So the first question about contract, once she said the contract is a yearly thing, at the end of the year, you and I would agree that the contract expires at the end of the year because it's a yearly contract. Yeah. And once the contract expires and the conditions are still the same, the employer has to prepare another contract.
With the same conditions?
Yes, with the same conditions. So you don't use just the first contract, because if anything should happen right now, the first contract has expired. Yes, and this is like in layman understanding. Once the contract is yearly, like at the end of it, it expires automatically. So you need to, your employer needs to prepare another contract for you with the same service, if the service terms and conditions hasn't changed. And the second question was
minimum wage.
Yes.
Is it supposed to be for only those with degree certificates or certificates?
So the minimum wage is for everybody. I repeat, everybody. So once you are working in Ghana,
it is the
whether
least
you are
amount.
certificate, PhD, whatever it is the least amount anybody in Ghana should be earning.
That's why it's called minimum.
Yes, minimum. So that is the minimum. If you are not paid at all, you shouldn't be paid less than 19 cedis, 97 pesos a day.
Or
530 cedis.
538 cedis, 19 pesos.
Perfect. Your math is good. So it's for everybody. It's not for just certificate or anything.
And then the last question.
The last question
talked about she's the only person in her department or in her office. How does she then structure her leave? Because if she goes, her employer is supposed to be at a loss.
Okay. So her last question is an issue from the organization.
Internal agreement.
Yes, internal agreement. The employer should get somebody to stand in for her or get another worker to join her. Because if she's the only person that is serving, like that is working there, and she goes on leave, that means that will the business continue to exist? No. So I think it's a discussion with the employer to find a replacement for her or to find someone to stand in for her while she goes on leave, because she's entitled to her leave.
So even for that particular period, they can get someone.
Yes, temporarily.
Come and fit in
or
fill in. Thank you very much. So I'm sure her questions have been answered. We are still here talking about the work and the law, what every Ghana worker must know. So there we have it. And we're talking about dismissals before the clock in.
Yes.
Today we are going back and forth. We talked about summary dismissal. So what could we add? Simplicita.
Yes.
So what is simplicita?
So the simplicita is actually the type of dismissal that comes with notice, like in lieu of notice. That's what the law says. Yeah. And even with that, I was explaining that the type of simplicita dismissals is based on your longevity at the workplace.
Okay.
If you've worked for 3 years and above, before your employer dismisses you, he needs to serve you a 1 month notice. That's the summary, like simpliciter. And the other one too is like if you've worked within a year to 3.
That's it's still in simpliciter.
Yes, still. So there are 3 types under the lieu of notice. So there are 3 types under the lieu of notice. The first is if you've worked over 3 years, the employer needs to serve you a month's notice before you are dismissed. And the second one is if you've worked for within...
once again, still on simpliciter.
Yes.
Please hold your thoughts there. We have a caller on the line. Hello, your name and where you're calling from? Hello, your name and where you're calling from. Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, my name is Akosi again. I'm calling from Tema.
All right, let's hear you, Akosi.
The program is very educative. So I would like to ask another question.
Yes.
I would like to ask another question. I'm Akosi from Tema.
Yes, Akosi, please go on.
Yeah, the question I have is this. You know, when you are working in a company, I used to work in a company, and then, you know, we have social security.
Yes.
And then, but the employer, what the employer did was that he said he would deduct something like a social welfare from our salary every month. And then what he did was that he deducts some money from our salary every month, like a social welfare. The idea is that if in case, you know, according to the contract, you have to give 1 month notice before you leave the job. So if you leave the job without informing, giving the 1 month, then he confiscates that. Is it lawful to do that, please?
So this is one thing that Akwesi is asking again. There are terms and contracts that you have put in there that before you to go on for you to leave the office or for you to stop working over here, once you are working, we'll be taking 20 cedis out of your salary every month and be putting it down as a social welfare fund for the office workers. Now, if you leave without giving a month's notice, if you just pick up your bag and you leave, do you still qualify for that contribution that you've made, since it's a social welfare fund for all the workers?
So I would say that, again, this is where the services of the labor office is relevant, because when it is brought to our attention, we'll be able to rectify some of these things. Ideally, under welfare, welfare has got nothing to do with whether I leave or not. In most cases, welfare is for when something happens and then you need to, as workers, contribute something for the employer or the employee, I mean. But not because I have stopped work and then no. The law says that for working that period, if you decide to stop, I am not to pay you. It is not my contributing to that. So if it happens that that is the arrangement there, then it is wrong and it needs to be brought to the notice of the authority so that we can take immediate action for that. But for welfare, you can have that deduction based off on the understanding of the workers.
Okay.
If you collectively, we are here, we say, oh, every month, let's deduct 20 cedis, and then we would sort ourselves out. End of year, we have a party. That is fine. But
I'm sure our workers would need to know more about this, not to cut you, but because simplicity is also important, and a lot of workers and questions are also coming in.
Even just to add up to his, the law has a part that talks about prohibited deductions of salary. So this is clearly a prohibited deduction of salary. Other than that, employers will just stand up and be deducting salary amount from what they feel like I want to deduct for maybe part of the building so we need to deduct salary. No, the law is against that. It's clearly against that, and it's boldly written in the law that it is a prohibited deduction. You don't do that.
So now let us just conclude on simpliciter and constructive dismissal quickly. There are a lot of questions that are coming in.
So the simpliciter, as I was saying, in 1 month in lieu of notice, if you've worked for over 3 years, and if you've worked for less than a year and 3 years, use 2 weeks notice. That is what simplicity is about. And constructive dismissal is when in this part of this particular type, it is when the employer is creating unfavorable conditions for you to work in a way so that he will be able to lay you off. An example is he's not providing you the adequate or the appropriate working tools and saying you are incompetent, but you are not providing the worker with the appropriate...
Because I love football so much,
yes.
One example is coming to mind. Okay. For instance, if you're a Chelsea fan, you should know that Raheem Sterling right now has been taken to go and train with the under-18s and the like. Can you call that constructive dismissal? Because he is not giving the... he's over 30.
Yes.
Or he's 30 by now. So he should be training with the first team because that was what he was signed for. But then now he's training with on the fringes, not allowed to come to the first team area and all that. Is that constructive dismissal as well?
So in this case, just as I explained, it is the employer that is creating unfavorable working conditions for you to work or for your full potential to be actualized. Yes, so this can fall under constructive dismissal. Some too, employers will be harassing their workers and all of this. They are doing it to make you uncomfortable so that you can leave the work. And all of this is considered constructive dismissal.
Interesting there. We have a lot of messages coming in, as I said, but one strikes out. This one is coming from Belinda Dotete. She says that, what is the deadline within the month that salary should be paid? And what legal process backs this?
The law doesn't give any specific timelines that salary should be paid. It's based off on the internal arrangements in the organization. Some decide to pay in the middle of the month, some decide to pay at the end of the month. But within the month, everybody or every worker is entitled to his remuneration.
Yes. You know, I actually structured this particular session into 9 different segments. And mind you, we've just gone through 4, so we have 5 segments left.
Wow.
Interesting. We are yet to talk about duties and rights, collective bargaining and collective rights, dispute resolution. And we are here to talk about inclusion of special considerations, people with special needs. And we are even yet to talk about the way forward. But all too soon, our time is fast spent. It's almost 10 a.m. And we have to bring the show to a halt for now. But then you'll come back later for us to go deeper into it and then make sure that we are done with this. But I want you to give your concluding remarks, how people can contact the Labour Department, how people can actually make use of the public employment centres, how people can identify themselves more with the National Labour Department.
So the Labour Department has official email channels, which is the info@labourdepartment.gov.gh.
Can you take that again?
info@labourdepartment.gov.gh or chieflabour@labourdepartment.gov.gh. We can be reached through these channels. Again, the department has an online system which is called the Ghana Labour Market Information System, GLMIS. It's a platform where employers and job seekers interact. So most often, employers will post their vacancies on the system. And then as job seekers, we can also log in and then apply to any of the vacancies that are posted there. The system is in a way that it allows you to create or form a CV. For most of us who don't have CVs, it gives us a structure where it can prepare a CV freely for us. And then we can also interact with employers.
And these are all in Ghana here?
Yes, on the Ghana Labour Market Information System platform.
GLMIS.gov.gh.
We can all go there. And then also, on the same system, it allows for you to know, because of work or employment, there is now the private employment agencies. They act on behalf of employers and they recruit people. So yes, the system has a list of approved or licensed agencies stated on the platform. So if there are other operators working who are not licensed, when you go on the system, you'll be able to know those you can interact or trade with and those that you can't, so that the likelihood of they took my information, they took me money to get me job is nullified. Just go on the system, interact with it, feel free, and then at any point in time, you can also send the email to info@labourdepartment.gov.gh.
Okay.
But George?
Yes, so just to add up to what he said, The Labour Department, aside the head office, which is in Accra, has over 68 offices across the country. Here in Accra, we have an office, just as I said earlier, around adjacent Kempinski Hotel, where the new Ghana Enterprise Agency is. We also have an office in Tema. And these offices are render free services where you go to private employment agencies to go and pay for. The government institution, that's the Labour Department, offers free services for job people who are looking for jobs, for employers who are also looking for people to work with and all of that. So I'll treat everybody out there that you visit us, not only in Accra, but as we said, most of the districts in all the regions in Ghana, you will find a labor office there. So you just visit them. If you have any issues that is boggling your mind about your contract, your employee, relation and whatsoever, you just go to the Labour Department, talk to any labor officer, and I'm sure they will be able to assist you. And secondly, too, there's this thing that the labor officers, we are mandated by law to do. That's the labor inspections. The labor inspections are not witch hunting inspections. We come to visit, or the law mandates or gives us the authority to visit any work or any employment where there's employment to conduct labor inspection. And this labor inspection we conduct is actually to check if the working conditions are okay, the industrial relation between the employer and employees and all of that. So, once you have the labor officers coming to your premise to inspect, it's a friendly conversation. It's not witch hunt. We are not coming out there to look. And secondly, to the labor inspection, per the law, we can notify you or not notify you. You understand? Because sometimes when you notify the employers they prepare and they
talking sheets and all that.
They do things right and all of that. But we want to actually ascertain what it is on the ground. So this is what I would want to add to.
All right, all too soon our time is fast spent, and I want to appreciate the people that came here to do with me. I told you today that we would learn a lot because we are serenaded by labor experts. So a special thanks to you, Mr. McGeorge Kofi Mensah, and then also to you, Mr. Godwin Kwanzaa, senior labor officers at the Labor Department here. And thank you for your insightful conversations that we've had today. And I hope that you'll actually come here once more. And yes, on this note, we are wrapping up. And know that, indeed, there's labor surplus and job deficit. But that notwithstanding, shouldn't undermine the worker rights. This has been the Koko Digest Morning Show. My name is Nanaya Asari, and this is how we call it a wrap.